Axolotti, hello. How are you doing, my friend? I do like that Pikachu mode. Pika Ramen. Interesting. We're doing a bit of a different stream today. Bit of an odd idea. I have been meaning to do that hand cam stream. I wasn't able to do it last night due to some scheduling issues. Yeah. Well, home issues, which cause scheduling issues. But, yeah. Nothing too terrible. Also, I'm kind of nervous about doing a hand cam stream there. I don't have any gloves to wear for it, so I'll just be showing my bare hands, which is quite nerve-wracking. Oh god, goodness. But yeah, I should be on that tonight, though. I don't know. I am feeling very tired today. I've woken up... I went to bed early, not late, and I woke up super early, so I am a tired boy. Very tired boy. I did get a haircut today. It doesn't show it well on the stream here, but I did get it cut a bit. So, Scared of next week, but being in my own world. What? Well, I would say what's scary next week, but you, thank you so much for the hydrate. I do appreciate it. How are you doing, my dear? Indeed, you have caught a stream. Hope you're doing well, you. Dog V2 cheer. I do like that. How are you? Oh, I still live. Cosmic Rosary. Thank you so much for coming in. It is your first time chatting, so you get a blow on the horn. Hope that popped up all right. It isn't? Oh, sorry. Hang on. Wait a minute. Is this first time chat here? No. What's going on here, Rosary? New year, new sickness? I'm sorry about that, you. I don't know why it says why it's saying first time chat then. I'm not sure. I do apologize for coming before though, Rosary, and I've misremembered, and if Twitch is misremembered as well. New account once again. Wait, hang on. Is that you, Aqua? It ain't new since I've been sick in 2023 and still now. Maybe. Okay. Good to see you again. Hope you're well. Since I'm back in 2023 and still now. I hope it's nothing too serious, you. I do hope that you shall be fine in the long run. Oh god. Let's turn the music down a bit. Yeah, I do hope you'll be fine in the long run, that it's nothing too serious. Yeah. I like that Yuyi. Yuyi's a fun name. Coughing every day. Oh, if it's every day, I would recommend going to the doctor about that. It might just be an infection, but if it's consistent, I would go and see a doctor about it. It might be something, if it's a consistent cough, it might be something a bit more prominent than you would think. So yeah. But because of my allergies, well still, there's no harm in booking an appointment, unless it costs money where you are to do that, in which case there might be quite a big harm. Actually, you said you're terrified of next week. Cosmic Rosary, thank you so much for the follow. That's your obligatory blow on the horn. It's been a while though, I hope you're doing well. Hey, Axel, you said you're scared of next week. Don't worry, the future is always scary. There's nothing certain about it, so it's alright to be scared. Whether there's something big happening or not, it's always something to be potentially scared of, but you just have to live with it anyway. Keep going. There's nothing wrong with any of my organs. I can still get an X-ray. Well, the thing is, if you've not had an X-ray, you won't know if there's anything wrong with your organs. Oh, goodness. Anyway, today we are doing something a little different today. So, ADHD diagnosed, friend of mine, also made a moderator a while ago. Yeah, he shall be coming on stream to gauge the strength of Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel cards. Now, Diagnose is mainly a Master Duel player, and hang on, yeah, he's mainly a Master Duel player. And for those who don't know, Rush Duels are an alternative format of Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is exclusive to Japan. It does have a very kind of niche audience outside of Japan due to it's not getting an official release, but it is available. There are games of it available over here, so that's some way for people to play it. And yeah, it's generally a much different game. There are different rules involved in the game, and the power level of the game is very different to normal Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot weaker generally. So yeah, we're gonna. I have made a PowerPoint presentation with which we should be going over with Diagnose in order to ascertain whether or not he can gauge their power level. Maybe they'll be over 9,000. God damn it, Axolotl. Alright, let's put the clown nose on. Now, why would you do that? Now, Diagnosed. Come on now, really? Really? We're gonna be on call in a second. You had to come in here just to fart? Really now? Really? For shame, sir. For shame. Hang on. Cease this. Now cease your gassiness. Hang on, are you on VC now? Yeah. Oh yeah, go there. Okay. Un momento. Hello? Oh, can you hear me? Oh, right, I can hear you. Right, yeah, for some reason you're super quiet. Let me just see if I can get that changed. Hang on. User volume. Speak now.
It's not my problem.
Okay, I can hear you better now. Awesome.
It's all the fault on your end.
Yes, it is indeed. Tell you what, I'm going to turn
Yeah.
the music down a bit as well. Because it's really loud for me.
I can't do anything wrong.
I know. You're basically Jesus in that you can't do anything wrong. New redeemed since when? Since a while ago. We've had new redeemed for a bit now. Hang on, we're just gonna see if you... Is your Fugi on here? I think we have your Fugi. It is here! Let me know if you can hear Diagnosed, everyone. Could you just speak for a second?
Oh, it's... I was like, I don't see it yet, but I see it now.
We can see clearly now the rain has gone. What's
Get
the...
that rain out here. Sunny season.
Something about obstacles in your way. I don't know. Remember that... I don't think... You ever watch Shrek 2?
You're talking to me about Shrek 2?
Yeah. Did you watch Shrek 2?
I don't remember it.
Okay. So, in Shrek 2...
I probably have, but...
So, there was a... In Shrek 2, there was... On the DVDs, there was a special segment where they did like a talent show, kind of like singing talent show, you know, one of those things. And you had the three blind mice singing "We Can See Clearly Now, the Rain Has Gone." So, I just remember that then.
So which blind mouse are you?
I am all of them in a trench coat, stacked on top of one another.
Oh, and then you were turned into a dog.
Yeah.
So you were in dog skin stacked 3 high on top of each other?
Yes. We it was a witch originally who turned us in, but now we just have a dead dog skin lying around to hide inside of when we wish.
Or do you mean the fairy godmother?
No, just a witch.
I was making a Shrek 2 reference. But
I know. I was fucking with you. Don't worry about it.
sure.
That was a good film, though. That was a good film. Shrek 2 is a good film. Why am I still wearing the clown nose, goddammit? I've had the clown nose on too long.
Because you need it for the whole stream.
Well, now, wait a second here, buddy. Wait a second here. What do you mean by that?
What do I
saw
mean? Exactly what I said.
I saw cringe old. Oh god, I saw my old art in the, scrolling the music and art server. Don't cringe too hard, you. It's okay. We're all cringe here. I'm a VTuber for crying out loud. Diagnosed has Gunter the Penguin as his little image here. Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Did you there's a reason why they made like a lore reason as to why he called the penguin Gunter. Do you know that?
No, because I know it's not. I know his name keeps going back and forth.
Right, so apparently in
Can't
event,
get his name consistent.
yeah, in adventure, yeah, it's like Gunter or Gunther. They keep saying it differently, but
Yeah.
in Adventure Time, one of the later seasons, I don't know which one, but they made this like Ice King lore where like the crown he originally was owned by a previous ice wizard who had an apprentice called Gunther, who he didn't never taught any magic to, but Gunther really wanted to learn magic, and he ended up stealing his crown and became a powerful ice wizard. Whenever he calls the penguin Gunther, it's the spirit of the crown, I guess, like imitating the old master, calling berating Gunther the apprentice or something like that. It's really weird and convoluted and didn't really need to be a thing, but like with a lot of Adventure Time, they kind of got way too serious for their own good, and everything had to have a reasoning. You couldn't just be weird and be okay with that.
Oh, aren't you talking about the Fiona and Cake series?
No, though I've heard about that. Was that any good? I've not watched it.
I don't know, but that one talks about Ice King and everything a lot.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought you were getting all this lore from.
No. This is from like the original series, but it's just like Adventure Time went really weird when it started to get dead serious about everything, and it's like you can just be like a weird fantasy show, right? You don't need to be like, everything is happening for a reason. All the magic is the result of a nuclear apocalypse. Like, no, fuck off. Who gives a shit? Like, come on. You're just playing into fan theories, and like, while some of it's cool, some of it is just like, whatever, man. Does that make sense? Am I the weird one here for thinking it's dumb? I'll take your silence as a yes. Okay, right, never mind. Okay. Anyway, so, diagnosed. We are here today to challenge you to a battle of wits and cunning. How intelligent are you?
I'm very SMERT.
Good. SMERT. Smirt. You'll love to see it. Anyway, so, with your smirtness, we must find out about Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel cards. Have they made or have they missed their mark? So your experience mainly with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is on Master Duel, correct? We played a little bit beforehand. You talked in great detail about how your love of normal monsters, like Phantasm Spiral and all that.
Majority of my experience is in IRL.
Oh, okay, never mind then. I was wrong.
I touch grass.
Well, all right. Granted, okay, actually, like, IRL Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of the worst way to play at the moment. Not because of, like, oh, you can play Master Duel, but because of the pricing of it. I don't know if you've heard it all, but, like, TCG prices have been insane lately. Like, apparently, at some of the latest tournaments in America, all the decks have been, like, over $400 to play, which is insane. That is honestly
It's always been like that.
Yeah, but, like, apparently it's even more pronounced lately. I think it's over 600 even. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pricing is terrible.
I don't know what you're talking about, because when Ash Blossom first released, it was $100, over $100 a copy. So that was just 3 cards.
Yeah.
For a deck.
That
was $300.
The pricing of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is insane, and a lot of people try and, like, make the argument that, well, a lot of those cards are staples which you can use in multiple decks, which is fair, but, like, I compare it to something like Digimon, where you can get, like, a meta deck for $60. So, I don't...
Not if you want it to be pretty.
Fair enough. If you want the bling, sure, but that's a weird collector thing then, at that point. But if you just want to play the game to a relatively decent level, in Digimon it can be... It's generally less than $100 all the time. So, the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is costing between $400 to $600 for most decks is obscene.
You can't play the game if you don't have the max rarity, though.
No, you can do that. That's the kind of attitude which is why it costs this much. Thing is, they don't even have they barely have they barely have alternate arts as well. Like, I think of like a lot of other card games I play, like Digimon and Vanguard and everything like that, and they'll have like alternate arts for cards, right? They have alternate arts as like special rarities. Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't do that. Yu-Gi-Oh's rarity printings are awful. Granted, I think Yu-Gi-Oh's
They do it in Japan, just not
well,
TCG.
they do have alternate arts, but they're not as alternate rarities or anything like that. They just maybe every now and then they'll reprint them with new art. But yeah, it's just I think it's really shit. And the thing is, well, you're saying that it's in Japan, but it doesn't matter because we're not in Japan, are we?
Well, yeah, you can argue that, but even you have better printings than I do, because you do get all the alternate arts on regular release if you played physical.
Fair enough. Speaking of Japan only, here we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel. So, yeah, we're gonna gauge if you, someone whose main experience is with the TCG in person in Master Duel, we're gonna find out if you can guess whether these Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel cards have made or missed the mark in terms of the competitive field of Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel. So, those unaware, as I mentioned before, Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel, it's an alternate format. It came out, I think, 2 or 3 years ago now. And it's a much more simplified version of Yu-Gi-Oh! It does have its own rules. We're going to go over a few of them quickly, just because I don't think it's fair to just ask you to gauge cards if you don't know any of the rules of Rush.
Isn't this just Duel Links?
No, it's similar, but there are differences to it. So yeah, let's go into it. So the rules of this game here, at least, are... So I'm going to show you a card introduced into the Rush Duel format. So using card info, you got to gauge whether it made a mark in the metagame, or if it fell short, missed the mark. And we're going to be looking at the entire history of the game up until now. And when I'm going to say it's either made or missed the mark, it's not necessarily saying that it's good or bad, but we're looking at it throughout its entire history in the game so far to see if it's made any form of meaningful impact. And again, just if they've not made any impact, or if they have made an impact, it doesn't necessarily mean they're good or bad. It's just how important they've been. Most Rush Duel cards are actually perfectly usable, even on the weaker end. A lot of them can find usage for them. It's not like normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Granted, the card pools are so much smaller anyway, so that's gonna probably be more guaranteed with a smaller card pool. But yeah. So that's the general gist of things. You understand? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay,
Is your PC dying?
No, it's playing. I just didn't do anything yet.
Huh.
Well, can you see it?
I'm watching. When I'm looking at stream, you're running at like 2 frames a second.
Oh, cock-ball torture. Well, I don't know why that's happening.
That's why I was just asking if your PC was okay.
Yeah, I think it's just my internet being awful as usual.
Oh.
Well, hopefully it won't be too much of an issue, but whilst we're waiting for you to catch up on the lag, we're gonna go over some Rush Duel specific rules and traits. So, like in Duel Links and Speed Duels, there are only 3 monster zones and 3 spell and trap zones. There's no extra monster zone here, though. No extra monsters. And there's no main phase 2 either. So it ends on the battle phase. Main thing, you always draw until you have 5 cards in your hand, even if you go first. So if you go first, you'll start on 4 and then draw 1 to go to 5. And yeah, that happens to both players. You always draw until you have 5 cards. Other than that, main rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! Still apply. You can't attack on your first turn. You can normal summon as many times as you want. It is infinite normal summons. However, you still need to meet the cost for tribute summons. So, level 5s and 6 still need 1 tribute. Level 7s and higher need 2 tributes. But, apart from the tribute cost, you can summon as many times as you want. All effects are soft once per turns by default. It does not specify if it's a once per turn effect. It is always implied by the rules of the game. Okay?
Okay.
Other thing, so there's a special feature in Rush Duel called Legend cards. So, yeah, they're powerful and iconic cards brought over from the main game. So, You know, things which are popular in the anime, like Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, as well as cards which have been pretty important in the meta game, like a Pot of Greed is in Rush Duel actually, and they're in the game. They are only allowed at one copy, and the way legend cards work is
Geez.
Sorry.
I just said, oh geez.
Yeah. So the way it works is that it used to be that you were only allowed one legend card in your entire deck. So if you had Blue Eyes White Dragon in your deck, you had no other legend cards available. Granted, that has now changed. I think as of the end of 2022, I want to say, beginning of 2023, they changed the rulings on it. So now you can have a legend card of each card type: spell, trap, and monster. So now you can have up to 3, but you can only have 1 of each card type. So that was like about 2 years into the game, and they changed the rulings on that. The only extra type in the game is fusion monsters. There are no ritual monsters either. They're in the main deck, obviously, but rituals aren't a thing. Only fusions are a thing. And there is I don't know if you can see this on the screen because your Fugi's in the way. There is a special type of specific monster in Rush Duel called maximum monsters. So they're cards which they're really big and powerful monsters, but they are made up of 3 individual parts which you need to summon at the same time in order to use them as a maximum monster. So yeah, there's been like other you might have seen.
Isn't that just?
It's not fusion, it's its own thing, because there's no fusion cards needed for it or anything like that. So you have
contact fusion.
Kind of, yeah, except like all parts need to be in your hand and you summon them all at the same time as one big card. So yeah, that's maximum monsters, and yeah, I guess like there's examples in other card games. I think Pokemon's had similar things where it's like cards in multiple parts and things like that. But yeah, if you've seen it in card games where it's a card split between multiple cards, it's more like if like Exodia you had to play all 5 pieces down at once to make the full card. But yeah, those are the general rules. So these are all things to keep in mind whilst playing this to guess whether a card is good or bad. And memorize this all because you have about 3 seconds to memorize it before we start, okay? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so the first card we're starting off with is Seven's Road Magician. So this is actually a more recent print. They had these really cool artworks in Rush Duel where it's like full art cards and they burst out of the frame. Very cool looking. I really wish normal Yu-Gi-Oh would do this. And you'll also see as well the text is much cleaner, is much more clean how it's laid out. It's so it always starts with the requirement at the top, effect underneath it. So yeah, that's how it works. And so Seven's Road Magician here. This was the main card of the main character of the first anime, Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. And yeah, this is his main boss monster. And it's kind of like the poster child for Rush Duels in a way because of that. So, yeah, if you want to read it aloud.
I want to read it out loud. I can't see behind you.
Okay, well, I'll read. Do you want me to read it then? I can read it for you if you like, and I can just crouch down as well.
Hold on.
Whilst we are holding, I shall get some water. I can read it for you as well, though, if you'd like. It's up to you.
We're fine.
Yeah, it's You okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, so
I can read it
for the audience now, just read it out aloud as well. Oh, yeah, so it's a dark level 7 spellcaster, 2,100 attack, 1,500 defense, and it has one effect. Its requirement is to send the top card of the deck to the grave, and then it gains attack equal to the number of different attributes in your grave times 300. So, yes. What do you think? It's a very simple effect.
Well, yeah. Yeah, of course that's gonna... of course that's gonna... What is it? Base 2100 attack. Well, you never informed me on what life points are in this.
Oh,
restaurant.
sorry, it is 8,000.
It is 8,000.
Yes.
That thing gets. If you're lucky, that thing gets Yeah, that thing gets 3,000 attack on one turn. You can do that first turn, and it'll have 3,000 attack. Of course, that's gonna make an impact on the game.
You think so? You think it made it smart then? Okay. Well,
Yeah, because you normal summon twice, tribute to summon it, and then it sends a monster from the top of
yeah,
your deck to the grave.
Yeah,
if you're lucky.
yeah,
and it'll be 3 different attributes.
yeah. So it's minimum 900 boost all the time. Yeah, fair enough. Good. Fair enough. Good guess. You'll be happy to know that it is completely right. Yes, this card absolutely made its mark. So, and you know, I think it's a good thing as well. If this is like the mascot card of the game and it wasn't very good, that would be a real miss, wouldn't it? But yeah, it can easily beat over most cards. It has, you can see here, it's got a maximum attack with its own effect of 3,900. Even in normal Yu-Gi-Oh, that is enough to beat over almost every card in the game. Very few cards have over that level of attack. It is completely generic. So it's splashable in any kind of deck which needs like just a really high power beat stick, and that's what it is. It is a high power beat stick. Yeah, because it can just go in any deck which uses a lot of different attributes, it can easily be splashed into things. And like, you don't need that many attributes. Like in a single attribute deck, it's not going to be that useful because it only gets to 2,400 at most. But if you're running anywhere between like 3 to 5 attributes, like, why not put it in there, you know? Like, not just in a spellcaster based deck, but speaking of spellcaster based decks, lots of support to take advantage of. Spellcasters, because the main character used a lot of them, the spellcaster one of the most supported types in the game. So there's lots of things it can take advantage of, and also because it's got main character privilege, there's lots of archetype-specific support for it as well to make it very, very good. So yeah, 7-0 Magician absolutely made its mark. So yeah, good job. Moving on to our next card.
Thank you.
We have Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius. I love this art, by the way. Again, this is a newer art with the full art, with it bursting out the frame. Really cool card. But yeah, this is also one of the main character cards. This is used by the main rival character. So I think his name is Luke or something like that. I can't remember the rival's name, but the main rival character uses this card. So yeah, Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius. It's a light level 7 dragon monster, 2,500 attack and 1,500 defense. Requirement: you send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. This turn, if it's destroyed, if this card destroyed a monster by battle even, it can make a second attack during that battle phase. So, you send the top card of it to the grave, and if it destroys a monster, it can attack a second time.
These requirements are very confusing, and I'm sure it's just because of English translation.
Yeah, no, requirement, send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. It's just mill 1, essentially. I think it's just because, like, milling is more of a phantom.
Is yours different?
No.
Oh, okay. Alright. The translation I'm looking up says it's an optional effect. It says requirement: you can send the top card of the deck to the graveyard.
Are you looking at the Duel Links versions of it?
No, I'm just looking it up as quickly as I can. So right now it's the fandom website.
Right.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki.
You might want to go on Yugipedia instead, because that's more accurate generally.
Which one?
Yugipedia. It is different. It's run by different people, and it's a cleaner website. There's less ads and everything on it, so... But yeah, Yugipedia is generally better for it. A lot of the information from Yugipedia is just copied and pasted onto the fandom site anyway.
Okay, so it is requirement, not optional.
I mean, you don't need to... You don't need to use the effect if you don't want to. When it says requirement, that's just basically the cost or the condition for it. So
so as soon as you summon it, you have to send the top card
No,
your
you
deck,
don't.
right?
You don't. No, you can just choose to activate it. So you know how, like in normal Yu-Gi-Oh, it will differentiate costs and effects and conditions by colons and semicolons. Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't do that in Rush. Instead, anything which we consider a requirement or a condition or a cost to meet is all put in requirement, and this is, you can just choose to use the requirement of it if you want, unless it specifies otherwise. So this is basically saying at any point during your main phase, you can send the top card of your deck to the grave, and then for the rest of the turn, if it destroys a monster by battle, it can make a second attack. Does that make sense?
Oh my god, these cards are dumb. Alright, I'm getting what you're talking about. The requirement to use the effect.
Yes.
That's okay.
It's not to summon it, it's not to actually have it on the field, it's just to use that effect. If you want to use its effect, you send the top card of your deck to the grave. Just like in normal Yu-Gi-Oh, it's anything involving a cost. So, just think of it like that. Normally these cards are clearer to read, I don't know if it's because you're not used to it, but or just because you're looking at some weird translations, I'm not sure.
Well, like I said, I didn't understand how these cards are structured, and now I do.
Yeah,
I haven't seen one.
Alright, yeah. But yeah, it's always...
I don't even know if they...
Oh, go on, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, it's always requirement then effect, and requirements are almost always optional unless it specifies otherwise.
Huh. Yeah, see, that's where I was getting confuzzled.
Yeah. No worries, no worries. It
Alright,
happens.
well... Does he have a popsicle in his mouth?
Oh yeah, that's an alternate art. There's some, like, they have like a lot of like weird like promotional campaigns. There's an art where it has one in its mouth. It's really weird. And there's one where Seven's Magician has like one as a staff instead of his. No, he uses that instead of his sword. It's really weird. They had some kind of ice cream collaboration where they gave them out as promos, and they have like weird cheapified versions of them.
I don't know. Are you trying to stump me and put two good ones next to each other to just trip me up, or
I don't know. So, what do you think?
I don't know any other. I don't know any other cards in this game to know if this guy is weak or not. That's the only issue.
That's what we got to try and figure out.
I don't know. I would assume it's good because it can attack twice. But I wouldn't imagine with how many normal summoning that's possible in the game that you would be able to beat over two different, or at least one monster, because they only have one monster on the field to directly attack with 2,500. So I don't know. I don't think this card's that great.
You can do that. You can beat one monster and then just attack directly. It doesn't. The second attack does not need to be on a monster.
You don't, in Rush Duel, you don't have to declare tax on monsters. You can declare tax on players.
No,
directly.
you do. No, sorry, sorry. Let's say again. So, the first attack, in order to use the effect, it needs to destroy a monster. The second attack can be a direct attack if your opponent has an empty board, but normal battle rules still apply. But
yeah, that's how I
yeah,
understand that
okay,
part,
right.
But what I'm saying is, with how many normal summons, with the infinite normal summon, what's the likelihood of having that window opening in Rush Duel?
Yeah,
so I don't think this card is that great. I don't think this card is good. I'm going.
Okay.
I don't think it made much of an impact.
Fair enough. So it missed the mark.
I'm saying no.
I think you'll be really glad actually to know that you are completely wrong. This card is fantastic. So, I mean, first off, it's 2 attacks. Even in normal Yu-Gi-Oh, a card being able to do more than one attack is fantastic, and it's such a cheap cost as well. You just send the top card. Send the top card of your deck to your grave. Milling 1 is not an issue if you just are able to do 2 attacks. You know what I mean? Second, it is completely generic, meaning it is instant offensive pressure for any single card in the game. So, you mentioned that, well, if there's infinite normal summons, will there be an opportunity for it? So, just looking at this again, this has 2,500 attack. Seven's Road only had 2,100. this can beat over it very easily. So you could beat Seven's Road realistically, and then just attack again, and you could attack them directly if they have no cards left. So, yeah, and remember, there's only 3 slots on the board, 3 monster slots and 3 spell and trap slots. So, realistically, yeah, you can beat, or this could easily destroy 2 monsters on the field by itself. It has the power to do that.
But you know what I don't know exists in the game? Magical Cylinder or Mirror Force?
Fair enough, yeah. No, obviously, yeah, no. It could be affected by a battle trap, yes, but so could Seven's Road, realistically, you know? Seven's Road could, you know, before we mentioned that get huge attacks that you can say to get to 3,000, but that could also be affected by one of those, so... They're both battle-oriented cards, right? But, yeah, one of them's obviously just an enormous attacker. This other one is like a big aggressive rushdown card. Rush. Anyway. But yeah, it does enjoy some of the main character privilege as well, so is a lot of support for it, and also it's a dragon, it's a light attribute, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! What did you expect? You know, Konami loves dragons. They're constantly giving dragons new stuff. It has new things to work with all the time. So yeah, it's absolutely made its mark. And yeah, by many it was seen as the strongest monster when Rush started. Not anymore. The games have developed a bit since then, but it's still a strong card. And yeah, I would argue that this is better than Seven's Road, though. Seven's Road, you just have to be a bit smarter if you want to be able to beat Dragius with it. Again, because Seven's Road has lower base attack. But, yeah, it's just such a good rushdown tool. Instant aggression in any deck. So, yeah, it is a great card. Okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Moving on, then. We have Sparks. Good old Sparks. So, there are cards from the normal TCG and OCG, apart from Legends, which have been brought into Rush Duel. And, yeah, a lot of them are, like, older cards, which have been brought in to give them new life in Rush. So, yeah, I'm sure you know Sparks. For those who don't know, Sparks is a very, very old card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Introduced originally in OCG Volume 1, the very first set of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. And, yeah, very simple effect. It doesn't have any requirement. You just play it down and inflict 200 damage to your opponent. Very simple, very quick to use effect. So, what do you think about Sparks in Rush Duel? Also, you'll note they also have updated artwork as well for Rush, which is nice. They're giving them nice, fancy new artwork.
Yeah, I'm sure that card made its mark.
Fair enough. So, did Sparks make its mark? No, absolutely not. No, just... Poor Sparks. Sparks had no usage.
Wow, that's really surprising considering a lot of people would run Gaga Cowboy just for the defense effect to burn your opponent for 800 life points.
Yes. So with Gaga Cowboy, right? Gaga Cowboy could attack and then in the main phase 2 burn them. So, you know, Cowboy for game, as they say. Yeah, so you could use it in the main phase 2. There is no main phase 2 in Rush Duel, remember. And another thing, so in normal Yu-Gi-Oh!, Sparks is regarded as one of the weakest cards in the game, largely because it inflicts such a minuscule amount of damage, and you have to run a card slot for it, and it's like, well, why would you bother? I mean, there have been stronger versions of it, like Ukazi inflicts 800 damage instead, and even then, that doesn't see play, you know? Now, even in the lower power level of Rush, you'd think, well, maybe Sparks is a chance. Not really. Even in this lower power level, when you can draw so many cards a turn because you draw up to 5, running a slot to inflict 200 damage just isn't worth it, unfortunately. You know, poor Sparks. Konami keeps trying to bring it out of its grave to give it a chance, and it just doesn't work. You know, like, talked about the other 2 cards before, they can inflict massive amounts of damage by themselves, and then you're running Sparks here, which has 200, which inflicts 200 damage for an entire card, and it's like, well, it doesn't do anything else apart from that. One thing I will say, though, is that Sparks does have support. There is a card which supports Sparks. So there's a card called Spark Hearts Girl. She has an effect which lets you cycle from your grave Sparks and another card called Curtain of Sparks back into your hand from your graveyard. And she has seen play. However, unfortunately, no one actually runs the card Sparks with her. People use her as a way to recycle Curtain of Sparks, because that's a cool battle trap, which decreases the attack on an opponent's monster by 500 if you have a spellcaster on the field. So, yeah. People run her to recycle Curtain of Sparks, but not to recycle Sparks, unfortunately. But it technically does have usable support, which is something. So you could try and run Sparks in a deck. Would it be super great? Realistically, no. But it's not unusable, right? It's not. It's just there's so many better cards you could run. But it's certainly more usable than it ever has been in any kind of Yu-Gi-Oh format. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on. We have Dark Revelation. So, this is a trap card. Its requirement: when an opponent's monster declares an attack, shuffle 4 spellcaster-type monsters from your grave into your deck. And then you destroy all attack position monsters on your opponent's field. Also, interesting thing. Yeah, so the name here is weird. This was originally translated by fans as Dark Liberation, which makes sense. You can look at the characters here, and it says Ri, Be, Re, Re, Shion. And it's like, it should be Liberation, but for some reason the official anime and games, they translate it as Revelation, which is incorrect. It just is incorrect. But whatever. But yeah. Shuffle 4 spellcaster-type monsters from your grave into the deck when an opponent attacks, and then you destroy all attack position monsters they control. So, it's like a Mirror Force, but you have to shuffle 4 spellcasters into your deck from your grave.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty good, but you'd have to run spellcasters, and that's game knowledge. I don't have that game knowledge.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know if there's a full spellcaster deck that works in the game. Because like you said, the other spellcaster, I won't remember their name.
Yeah, it's fine.
Seven's it's just splashable.
Yeah.
It's just splashable, and then you said there's that one, the Sparks girl, that she's spellcaster, I'd assume, right?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, for her to recycle spells, it would only make sense. There's not really anything. That's rough.
You want to say?
I'm probably just gonna get this wrong because it's just a 50-50 for me at this point.
You want to say it's made the mark then, or missed the mark?
Let's just say it made the mark because it destroys all attack positions, not just one.
I see. Fair enough. I think your reasoning behind this has been very solid, and you are correct. It absolutely made its mark. So, I mean, it's a restrictive Mirror Force, but it's still a Mirror Force. Being able to destroy your entire opponent, potentially destroy the entire board, is great. And also, interruptions like this are very rare in Rush. Even now, when the card pool's expanded, these kind of like massively devastating interruptions aren't all that common. So being able to use the Mirror Force, even if it is weaker, is really not that difficult. And yeah, so I mentioned before that Seven's Road has a lot of support. It can use it because spellcasters are very common. Spellcasters are super common in Rush. So if it's ran in a spellcaster deck, the rather large hang on, I'll just move it so you can see the notes a bit easier. The rather large cost of shuffling 4 is pretty negligible, honestly. It's not that big of a deal because you can just easily get 4 spellcasts in your grave. If you are running it with Seven's Road, it could potentially weaken Seven's Road attack boosting effect because Seven's Road needs a card of multiple attributes in the grave, but you can just, choose cards like which already have the same attribute. If you have 2 fire cards in your grave, you only need one of them to be in there to make use of Seven's Road's effect. So, yeah, it's not super difficult to work around, and because you're tributing all the time, you can pretty easily fill up your graveyard. So it's not that bad. I'm not going to say you can easily get it off 3 times in a game or anything like that, but yes, it can certainly turn it around, and it's not as harsh of a cost as you would think if running a spellcaster dedicated deck. So yeah, this is a great card. And Mirror Force is Mirror Force.
Mirror Force is Mirror Force.
Yeah.
But Drowning is better.
No, true, yeah. I'm trying to think if there are any other kinds of cards like this, because I will say now, Mirror Force is in the game. It is a legend card, so you're only allowed to run it at 1. I don't know if there's any other types of Mirror Force variants in the game, though. I think there might be.
It's ran at 1 of all things.
Yes, it's too powerful to be. Listen, this is Mirror Force, which is super restrictive. If Mirror Force was at 3 copies, the game would be broken beyond belief. It would not be able to handle unlimited Mirror Force. Yeah. Mirror Force in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Has historically been a great card, even though it's not used now. But, yeah, in Rush Duel, that would be... If people are running 3 copies of Mirror Force, it would be broken. Yeah, I mean, even in the TCG and OCG, Mirror Force has been limited in the past. Like, I think it's been at 2 and 1 copies, respectively, beforehand. But, yeah. Anyway, moving on. We have our first legend card, Buster Blader. So, we all know Buster Blader, very iconic card which Yugi used in the Battle City arc of Yu-Gi-Oh. And yeah, who doesn't like Buster Blader? Yeah, Earth, level 7 warrior monster. Again, it is a legend card, so you're only allowed 1 of it in a deck, and no other legend monsters. Its attack is 2,600, defense 2,300, so that's the same. Requirement none. This is a continuous effect. Gains attack equal to the number of face-up dragon-type monsters on your opponent's field and in their graveyard, times 500. So, it can get to some very big numbers very, very quickly. So, what do you think? Buster Blader, did it make or miss the mark? Keep in mind, this guy is at level 7, much like Seven's Road and Dragius, but has higher stats than both of them.
Gains attack equal to the total number of face-up?
Yeah, its effect stays the same as what it was originally. It's just worded a bit differently, but yeah. It gains 500 attack for each dragon monster on your opponent's field and graveyard.
Well, obviously that card is going to make its mark. It instantly beats over Multi-Strike and the other spellcaster. So if your opponent has Multi-Strike and the spellcaster on the field, then GG's.
Yeah. I mean, no, its numbers are huge, so yeah, I totally get why.
Even in his defense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
if you summon that guy in defense, he can
still like tank a hit or 2 from at least from Seven's Road without any buffs. So, yeah. Its stats are honestly great. Unfortunately, it could have missed the mark. So yeah, its stats are very high. They are phenomenally good for Rush Duel. However, it is a vanilla if it's not up against dragons. And even, I mentioned before, dragons are very common. Dragius itself is a dragon. But even then, it is still a vanilla if not up against a dragon, any decks running dragons at all. So it is a bit limited in that. Also, I'm just going to move it off screen here so you can read this on. I don't know if you're watching the stream or not, but you can see the PowerPoint. So, at the time of release, this was back when only 1 legend card was allowed in your entire deck, not 1 legend card per type. As a result of that, there was lots of competition for this 1 slot. I'm talking about things like Blue Eyes. Jinzo was released in the set before this. Trap Hole was in the game, and Trap Hole... excuse me. Trap Hole was one of the best removal options in the game at the time as well, and that's like destroy a normal summon monster with 1,000 or more attack. But yeah, Trap Hole was in the game, Jinzo. Later cards came out as well. I mentioned Mirror Force before. Monster Reborn was put in the game as well as Monster Reincarnation. So, and I mentioned Pot of Greed is in the game as well. And Pot of Greed isn't even that popular in Rush. I mean, people do use it, obviously, but, you know, like, I think a lot of people find Monster Reborn more usable. But, yeah, Pot of Greed, Monster Reborn, Mirror Force, they all came out. As a result, whilst Buster Blader is not a terrible card, the competition for it was too tight to really see play. Since its release, there has been support made for it, though, so you can run a Buster Blader deck now, and you can run Buster Blader, and it can perform reasonably well. But when it came out, it really it was a cool card, but, you know, it just doesn't do enough. You know, like, if you just wanted a big monster, you could run Blue Eyes. And Blue Eye, you know, 3,000 attack, it is the highest attack normal monster in the game. And if you wanted just a big beater unconditionally, you could just go for that instead. Obviously, this could beat over Blue Eyes, but again, if they're not running dragons, there's not much of a point. So, yeah. Does that all make sense? Yeah. I mean, I think about normal Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. It's the same kind of thing where it never saw play because it's kind of too limited. It's a very cool card, and I do like Buster Blader a lot. And, you know, in the normal card game, Buster Blader's received some really good cards now, like Buster Dragon and that cool fusion, which just, like, says no to any dragon on the board. But, yeah. Buster Blader, unfortunately, just wasn't great. There's actually also a new version of Buster Blader as well, made for Rush Duel, which is like a weaker version of it, but you run it alongside this version, so, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So this is our first maximum monster. There's a lot here, so I may need to move off screen so you can see it all, unless you're looking at it all on the computer anyway. But yeah, this is Yggdrago, the Sky Emperor. So if you're looking at my screen here, this is how a maximum monster works. It's one giant artwork split across 3 cards. So
which one is it?
It's called.
You have to look at all 3 of them at once, huh?
Yeah. So the way it works is, if you want to summon a maximum monster, so you can summon the individual cards separately, right? They'll be the individual pieces. So the one on the right will be a level 3 with 600 attack. The one in the middle will be a level 10 with 2000 attack. If you want to summon them as a maximum monster, though, you need to basically have all 3 parts in your hand and declare, yes, I am maximum summoning. And then you play all 3 cards down at the same time as a maximum monster. If you have any cards on your board, you are allowed to get rid of them. You just send all your cards, all your monsters on your field to the graveyard to make room for these guys. And, yeah. Then you just summon them out and you have this big boy. And when it's in maximum mode, it uses that big maximum attack there. So it becomes a maximum monster with 4,000 attack. Also important to know, maximum monsters, much like Link monsters, cannot be in defense mode. So it's unaffected by defense altering effects or anything like that. Yeah, so it will always be just this big boy. And yeah, it also has access to all 3 of the card effects. And you can use all of them once per turn. So yeah, it becomes it becomes one big monster with a massive attack, and 3 effects. I mentioned before that 7-0 gets to 3,900 and can beat over most cards in the game. Yggdrago the Sky Emperor is one of the few cards it can't beat over, because it's just 100 points off. Yeah. But yeah, it has 3 effects. Each of the parts is a different one. So, I'll just go through all of them. The Yggdrago the Sky Emperor left card, the left part, it's a level 4 monster. They're all light Cyberse, by the way. They are all light Cyberse cards.
There's Cyberse in this?
Yeah, all the types are in it. Actually, Rush Duel has its own unique types as well, which we'll get into in a bit later on as well. But yeah, this is Cyberse, light Cyberse, maximum monster. It's got 900 attack and 0 defense. Its requirement is that, whilst it is in maximum mode, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave to destroy a face-up level 8 or lower monster on the field. On your opponent's field, even. So, Mill 3 to destroy a level 8 or lower on your opponent's side.
Level 8 or lower?
Yes.
Damn.
The middle piece, the main boss of them all, level 10 light Cyburst, 2000 attack, 0 defense. You can maximum summon it with Yggdraga the Sky Emperor left and right, so those are the pieces you need. Its effect is, while in maximum mode, it cannot be destroyed by trap cards.
So hold on. So real quick, with this whole maximum summon crap.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all 3 pieces in your hand.
Yep.
You look at your board, you have 2 monsters on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you have to maximum summon? You have to have those 2 monsters there first?
No. So this doesn't need any tributes or anything. As long as... You can have an empty board, but if you have all 3 parts in your hand, you can summon them as 1 monster straight away. If you do have any cards on your board and you want to maximum summon, you are allowed to just send all your monsters on your board to your grave and just maximum summon in their place.
So what's the downside? Where's the downside?
Exactly. You just get a big boy. So yeah, it can mill the top 3 to destroy a level 8 or lower in maximum mode. It can't be destroyed by trap effects whilst in maximum mode. And the third part, I put the right part as a level 4 instead of a level 3 here, but yeah, it's a level 3 Cyber, 600 attack. Whilst in maximum mode, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to your grave, and then you get to change 1 defense position monster on your opponent's field to attack position. So yeah, it's a attack position effect, which is, it's kind of okay. That effect's okay. It's still usable, obviously, because you can just attack into it and deal a lot of damage because of its massive attack stat. But yeah, what do you think then?
Rush Duel sucks. Because even Pokemon has drawbacks to you summoning a massive Pokemon.
Yeah, like EX Pokemon, you lose more prize cards, don't you? Yeah.
And the fact that this has no drawbacks, but I mean, I guess he immediately dies to the Spellcaster Mirror Force because they can't go on defense.
Well, it says its middle card effect. It cannot be destroyed by your opponent's trap card effects.
Oh, I thought I said battle trap effects. Okay, yeah, then you win.
Yeah. So you think, yeah, so I think you're actually very surprised to find out this card missed the mark completely. It didn't make any kind of impact at all. And I'm gonna explain why. Now, I also was the same opinion of you. Like, why the hell is this in the game? This sounds ridiculously broken. This can't be good for the game. Like, it's an enormous attack stat nothing can beat over. It has 3 effects, all of which are really good, and you can't rely on your powerful trap cards to kill it because it's immune to trap destruction. That is all dependent on if you can get all 3 parts in your hand. Which is not as easy as you'd think. Even in Rush, where you can draw up to 5 cards, the fact that you need to keep all 3 pieces in your hand, you need to keep pieces in your hand means you can't draw new cards. So, Rush Duels is constantly encouraging you to dump as much of your hand as possible so you can get new cards, right?
Yeah.
By having to keep pieces in your hand, you are able to draw less cards, and thus you have less of a chance of getting all the pieces you need. Now, if you are lucky enough to get all 3 pieces, great stuff. You've got this awesomely powerful card on the field, awesome stuff. If you're not, you're a sitting duck. These cards can all be played individually. However, if they are not in maximum mode, they are terrible vanilla monsters with low stats. Except they also can't benefit from any of the good normal monster support in Rush Duel. They're all treated still as effect monsters, but they're just effect monsters with terrible stats and can't do anything. And the thing is, what's even weirder as well is that the entire Cyburst type in Rush is kind of revolved around hand cycling, so you can get out Yggdrago easier. right? This whole, like, Dragon Tree line, they're called. They're all about, yes, just cycle new cards out. Even with an entire deck built around it, it still struggles because it's all about the if you can get 3 parts. It's not when, it's the if. And because, you know, if you are lucky, you could get them all first try. But, you know, that's like saying, oh, well, if you're lucky, you can get all 5 pieces of Exodia in your hand on the first turn. You know, it's not guaranteed. Yeah. Oftentimes, decks which aren't running maximum monsters just outspeed it. They just outspeed it to the point that they can kill you before you're even able to get it out on the field. And yeah, if you do get it out, again, you do have an incredibly hard card to get rid of. But also, a lot of decks can outstall it. Look at the amount, it's all its effects mill cards on the top of your deck. So, let's assume that you cycled through a bunch of your deck just to get this out. Your opponent can very easily just bait you into using its effects over and over again and mill you out before you can use it, before you can win the game even.
Yeah, you're able to run multiple copies of that card though, right?
Yeah, you can run 3 of each copy. Oh, hi Xylia, we're just doing a game with Diagnosed here, guessing how good these cards are. Yeah, you can run 3 copies of all of them, but thing is, that's also 9 slots, 2 cards which do nothing.
Yeah.
That is 9 slots.
So.
In a 40 to 60 cards still for the deck size, but that's still, in a 40 card deck, that's 9 cards out of your 40 cards which don't do anything for you. And even with a whole deck focused around cycling out cards, it's not worth it a lot of the time. And I have played this a lot. I'm really trying to, I really try to make it work. It just doesn't work. It's a real shame. It looks really cool and everything. Final Form Frog. Yo, it kind of reminds me of a colossal minion from Hearthstone. Yeah, I totally... no, I do what you mean that. I'm not even familiar with Hearthstone, but I understand what you mean by that. Also, this is your first time chat, so welcome in. Your obligatory blow on the horn. I hope they didn't blow out your ears. But yeah.
It probably did.
Oh, okay. Did it blow out your ears?
No, I didn't hear it at all.
Okay. What about that? Did you hear that?
Nope.
Okay, good. I guess it doesn't pick
Even your laugh earlier, it peaked, and I didn't hear anything.
Discord is a really weird peak, doesn't it? I don't know. Maybe my voice is just really loud or really high pitched. I don't know. But yeah, you're wondering what the downside was, because even Pokemon has downsides. The downside is getting it out on the field.
I guess so.
Yeah. No, the thing is, I totally understand what you're saying there, because that's what I thought. I was like, why are these maximum monsters not the best cards in the game? And it's because no one can get them out in like a reasonable way.
That just reminds me of when I used to run A to Z.
Oh yeah.
In the ABC support for XYZ, I ran A to Z Dragon because A to Z Dragon is an amazing card.
Yeah.
But having 5 positions to use 6 monsters to make 2 contact summon monsters, contact fusion, to make those 2 contact fusion to A to Z.
It's so piece reliant, isn't it? Yeah, and like, yeah, you get it then, right? Like, it's 2 piece reliant, and trying to get all of them in the exact position you need them to without you getting killed before that is difficult. It is not an easy thing to do. So yeah, as cool as Yggdrago is, as cool of a colossal minion as it is, it's just kind of whatever. And if you use it and you can make it work, great stuff. But yeah, Yggdrago is just kind of, it's alright. It's not great. It's, yeah. Moving on to something.
Play this game?
Sorry, what?
If I was able to play this game, it would be a Drago Mono.
Yeah, no, yeah, you can make it work. You can do. It's just difficult.
What is this?
This is so yeah.
It's just Buster Blader on top of what's his name.
So they introduce fusions eventually later on after Maximum Monsters, which is another thing. Fusions generally beat Maximum Monsters really easily because they're quicker. Yeah, this is an homage to Blackluster Soldier riding on top of Blue Eyes. What's it called? Dragon Master Knight. That's it. Yeah, it's an homage to that, I think. But yeah, This is Seven's Geas, the Magical Dragon Knight. It's a dark level 10 magical knight fusion. So, yeah, I mentioned before, Rush Duel does have its own types. Magical Knight is one of them. I don't know why it introduced its own types, but it did. So it has things like Magical Knight, Cyborg, Omega Psychic, as all unique types to Rush Duel.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why it did it, but it did it, so yeah. Level 10 Magical Knight, 3000 attack, 2500 defense. To summon it, you need to fuse the boys from earlier, Seven's Road and Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius together. And its requirement: if your opponent has a face-up level 7 or higher monster on the field, using the top card of the deck to the grave. And then you can activate one of the following effects. It's a multi-choice effect. You can either make it so that this turn, it gains attack equal to the number of different types in your grave, times 700, and it can make up to 2 attacks on monsters. Or, you can destroy all face-up monsters in the field. So there's a lot there, but yeah. Your opponent does need to have a face-up level 7 or higher monster, and then you mill the top one. So it can gain 700 for each of your types and attack twice, so because it uses a spellcaster and a dragon, it gets at least 1,400 by its own effect. And attacks twice. Or you can destroy all cards in the field. That does include itself, but it is a complete board wipe. All face-up cards, that is. So it doesn't stop, like, set cards.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Has to have a face-up.
Yeah.
7.
Oh, by the way, whilst you're thinking about that, Final Form Frog, hope you're doing well, I hope you're doing good. And Xylia, I hope you're doing good as well. I know I just said hi before, but yeah. I hope everything's going alright for both of you guys. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying learning about this weird little side game of Yu-Gi-Oh!
And you were saying that this is the first...
Sorry, the first what?
This is the first fusion into the game?
Oh, no, this is not the first fusion.
Okay. Then he's trash.
Yeah, so, you think he's trash then?
He probably didn't make his mark, no.
Why'd you say that? Actually, I'm confused. I am interested why you say that.
Because I don't have enough game knowledge to actually...
You just gave up!
I don't know how many level 7 dragons actually exist in the game for me to be like,
well,
yeah.
it's not just level 7 dragons. If your opponent has any level 7 or higher monster.
Oh, it's level 7 or higher? I thought it was specifically dragons.
No, so to fusion summon it, you need Seven's Robe Magician and Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius. Those are the fusion materials. But to use its effect, it needs to be that your opponent has a face-up level 7 or higher monster.
Yeah, then maybe he was good. Let me say that. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, okay.
He was good.
So it absolutely was good. Yeah. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Its materials are difficult to get out because they are 2 level 7 monsters. Something as well to keep in mind about Rush Duel is that polymerization is a legend card. You are allowed one. It is.
See, you didn't even tell me that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
You still got it right. Polymerization, the bread and butter of fusion, should in historical Yu-Gi-Oh, which lets you fuse cards from your hand and field, is limited to 1 in Rush Duel by the game rules of the game. Final Form Frog, thank you for the follow. Hope you're doing good, my friend. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Yeah. So because the polymerization is at 1, the main card used to fuse, the card simply called Fusion, which is not a good card, but people use it anyway because it's how you fuse cards, isn't it? Fusion just lets you fuse monsters, but only on the field, so it is just a weaker version of polymerization.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so you do need to have 2 specific level 7 monsters on the field, but you do get a big boy. The level 7 or higher monster in your opponent's field, that requirement, it may not always be active, but level 7 and higher monsters are the most common boss monsters in Rush Duel, so if your opponent has a boss monster out, this card can probably do something. And whether that is destroying all cards, which means you do lose it, but it is, a board wipe, or it becomes like a monster which can attack twice and has over 4,400 attack. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I mentioned before, both those cards, they're splashable in a lot of decks. And whilst you wouldn't really run these cards in a deck just to run the fusion material, in the respective decks, so in a Seven's Road deck or a Dragius deck, you can very easily splash a copy or two of the fusion material needed to fusion summon it out, You could run a whole dragon deck with like, oh yeah, I'll run like 1 or 2 copies of Seven's Road just in case I want to get this guy out on the field. Or vice versa. So yeah. Solid card. Yeah. Next, we're going to go on to the lower levels for a bit. We're just going to gauge the power level down to a much smaller card. This is Amazing Dealer. Look at this guy. Look how happy and maniacal he looks about all his cards flying everywhere. Anyway, Amazing Dealer. He's a water attribute level 3 spellcaster. He's got 0 attack and 1,000 defense, and he has 1 effect where his requirement is if you have 3 or less monsters in your grave, you pay 300 life points. Then, you send cards from your hand to the grave and then draw 3 cards. So yeah, if you've got
you turn 1, lose 300 life points, send 3 cards from your hand to the graveyard, then draw 3 cards. He's just a basic or a really small magical mallet.
Yeah. Also, you do need to have 3 or less monsters in your grave in order to use the effect. 3 or less monsters in your grave, pay 300 life to discard 3 and then draw 3.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good. He's almost a magical mallet.
That's a good comparison, honestly. Yeah, I actually hadn't thought about it until you said it then, but yeah, it is very close to Magical Mallet. And you're right, it did make a mark. So yeah, it is Magical Mallet on a body, essentially, which is good, right? You can, obviously, it's not going to be doing any damage, and 1,000 defense is even kind of bleh. But, it can still be tributed, which is good. Discarding 3 and then drawing 3 is nearly a full refresh if you're stuck, because you start each turn on 5 cards. If you play this card down, you've nearly fully refreshed your hand if you have a dud hand, And
true.
So because of its requirement, realistically, it means you can maybe use it only once or twice a game because you do need to have less than 3 or less monsters in your grave. But you can easily make using this effect once is all you really need, like recycling your hand if you get it on the first turn with a dud card. You can get an entirely new, almost full new hand, and then you're like, oh, you set yourself up for the game there. And if you can always just discard spell and trap cards if you want, so you can use it more than once. And like with a lot of cards beforehand, it is completely generic. Like, the amount of decks I have seen which don't run any spellcasters or water monsters, but will put in Amazing Dealer just for the chance to use it, is insane. It is very, very commonly used in a lot of decks. I don't know if it's personally my playstyle, though, but yeah, a lot of people do use Amazing Dealer. So, yeah, pretty good card. Moving on. So, we're going to move on to normal monsters now. So, normal monsters are very prevalent in Rush Duel. They're very, very common. And they play a big part of the game, and they have played a big part of the game before as well. Also, you'll notice this card, it says it's Galaxy type. Galaxy is another new type introduced exclusively for Rush Duel. Not to be confused with the Galaxy archetype, which is a different thing, obviously, in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, Galaxy is a type, and it's its own thing. And, yeah, so this is just a normal monster to give you an idea. So yeah, this is Milky Wave Neo. It's a Win level 7 Galaxy normal monster, 2,500 attack and 1,000 defense. And got its flavor text here. A new galactic warrior born from the river of stars, the Milky Way. He fights by gathering massive energy from the stars. Gianari Duzuai. which I think is some kind of weird alien lingo or something like that. But yeah. Also, yeah, in the anime, the main character of the second series, Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, he's an alien and uses these cards.
What the?
Yeah, he's an actual alien, and I'd say that's really weird. But then I think about all the weird stuff which has happened in Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's like, you know what? Yu-Gi-Oh! GX had a guy who has dino DNA because on an expedition which went wrong, he replaced a broken bone in his leg with a dinosaur bone, and that makes him immune to magical mind control for some reason. So, you know what? Sure, aliens, why not? Go for it.
Sure.
You know, I don't think anything will ever top dino DNA makes you immune to mind control.
Right.
But, yeah, Milky Way of Neo. Vanilla monster, but level 7 with 2500 attack and 1000 defense. What do you think?
Yeah, there's no way this guy did anything.
I'm not going to beat around the bush with you. You're right. And now, not to dunk on him too much. He was released in a starter deck. So he's there for new players to get hang of the game, right? So I'm not going to be... don't be too mean to him. He's fine. Now...
Don't be too mean.
No, because he is a starter deck card, right? He's there to teach players the game. Yeah. Now, his stats are not that bad. And especially on a normal monster, his stats aren't bad at all. However, Galaxy as a type has way stronger 2-tribute normal monsters. So, the main character of Go Rush, his main boss monster, is a card called Galactica Oblivion, which is a level 8 monster, a level 8 normal monster, with 2500 attack and 2500 defense, and its light attribute. And it also has a bunch of support related to Galactica Oblivion, so that card has higher stats. It's still a normal monster, but has a lot of support cards for it, which it can take advantage of. So, if you can use Galactica Oblivion, there's no real reason to use Milky Way of Neo. Though, yeah, his stats honestly are not terrible in Rush Duel. His 2500 attack is solid. And, you know, even you compare him to Dragius, he had, like, less defense than Dragius, but his attack is the same. So, yeah. He's honestly not the worst thing in the world, but there's just way better options in Galaxy decks to use than Neo here, so... yeah. And, yeah. He's a nice tutorial card, though, for younger players getting into the game. So, yeah. And also, as a lower rarity boss monster you can go into, considering the Galactica Oblivion is a high rarity card, just because it's a vanilla with really big stats. And, yeah, that's another thing.
True.
People will use cards in Rush Duel if they're vanilla, even if they are just big, beefy boys, because it's good. Moving on, we have Hammer Crush. So this is a normal spell. Its requirement is that you send a card from your hand to the grave, and then you can destroy one spell or trap card in your opponent's field. So yeah, discard one to destroy a spell or trap.
Of course, that's good. That's MST with a cost.
Yeah, it is MST with a cost. You are right.
Yeah.
It is only opponent's monsters though, so you know MST in the past has been used in weird shenanigans involving destroying your own cards to activate effects as well. But and this can't do that.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's no ancient gears in this deck, so.
You're right. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It is completely generic back row removal. Now. There are other back row removal cards in the game which were around when this card released. This card came out in set 1, and the starter decks also came with their own form of back row removal. However, those other cards are type specific. There was a card called, I think, Magical Stream, which can destroy any one spell or trap card on the field, but you need to have a spellcaster on the field. So yeah, there's another one which is the same for dragons, and it's called Dragon's Fire Blast or something like that, which did the same thing, but you needed a dragon on the field.
Yeah.
So yeah, whilst this thing does actually have a cost of discarding one as opposed to those two which have a condition, it is completely generic, so any deck can use it, even if you're not running spellcasters or dragons, or other types as well have had those kind of cards, and even now, like, spell and trap removal has become more common, which, not because necessarily power creep, though the game has power crept a bit, but just because the card pool's gotten bigger, you know, more cards will come out which can do things like that. So, it's kind of just naturally become less prevalent, But it's you can still use it fine. So yeah, and especially at the beginning of the game when it wasn't super common to have spell and trap removal, a lot of decks would put this in, and they'd be great with it. So yeah. And you know, the discard is kind of negligible because you're always drawing and drawing. You always get new cards in Rush. Raggy? Ruby doo. Yeah, good card, Hammer Crush. Very, yeah, I don't want to beat around the bush with that one. Beating though, we're going to talk about this guy. Look at this guy. He's got a mohawk and everything. This is Royal Rebels Heavy Metal. He looks sick. I love this guy's design.
That's a Digimon.
Holy shit, you're right. I never noticed that. Dude, he looks... He is a Digimon! Holy... No, god damn, he looks exactly...
You're the Digimon person, too!
I never thought he looked like it until you said it now, and I'm like, yeah, he even has... Okay, I don't know if you can see it in the artwork. He has, like, a microphone and everything. That's a Digimon! Oh, wait, no, his sword is the microphone. God damn. Holy shit, that's a Digimon. That's like a mega level Digimon. Oh my god, I'd never thought about that. I'm really glad you said that. I'm really happy. But yeah, Mr. Digimon over here, Royal Rebels Heavy Metal. He's a light level 8 Fiend. Always love that combination. Light Fiend is very, very cool. 2,500 attack, 0 defense. His effect. During the turn, you normal summon this card by tributing a level 5 or higher monster. You can choose a face-up level 8 or lower card on your opponent's field. No, with the lowest level on your opponent's field. And it gains attack equal to that monster attack until the end of the turn. Then destroy that monster. So yeah, it does need to
Till
be...
the end of the turn. Does the opponent's monster destroy at the end of the turn?
No, you destroy... No, sorry, destroy that monster instantly. So yeah. It needs to be normal summoned using a level 5 or higher monster. And then you choose a level 8 or lower card with the lowest level on your opponent's field. It gains that card's attack. And then that monster is destroyed instantly. So it doesn't get... It's not destroyed at the end of turn. You just destroy it and it gets its attack power. It is the lowest level card though on the field.
It looks like that one's good. That one's gotta be good.
Why'd you say that?
Well, because it's simple. It has to be 8 or lower monster, and majority of the monsters that you've been showing me today are 7. So he's an instant pop for
most cards.
double attack dinos, double attack dragon.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the spellcaster.
Yeah. Also,
whatever that one's name was.
Yeah. Also, like if those cards are the only card in your opponent's field, it gains their attack, so it gets like well over 4,000 attack, which is great.
Yeah.
It did miss the mark actually though, only by a bit though. So I'm gonna explain why. So this card.
He's a Digimon.
Yeah, they put him in the wrong game.
Yeah, they put him in the wrong game.
Like Bandai called them and like, hey, we understand that one of our guys is on loan. Is he busy? Can we get him back yet? Like, no, he's kind of the main boss monster of a deck now. I'm like, well, when's it gonna be finished?
Well, is he at least good? No, we made him mediocre. He can be used, but not in very many situations. Many situations. He is garbage.
Damn it, Konami! Don't look at me like that. We were doing our best.
You promised us you would make him look good. Oh yeah, his art's amazing. His art's amazing. Didn't you see it?
At least he's got good art. He actually also has one of those new arts, which are new, like, pop out of the frame artwork. He looks sick. Yeah.
Wow, so he has an alternate art to the one that you have in the PowerPoint, and he's still garbage?
Yeah, okay, I'm going to explain why. He's not garbage. He missed the mark by a bit. So, he is powerful generic removal, right? And he can get to massive power. And before get to well over 4,000 attack. So, when he was released, there was massive hype on it. I believe, actually, he came in the second set of Rush Duel, actually, so a while ago now, but when he was released, he was the highest cost card in the game, because he was the highest rarity, so Rush Duels do have a rarity above Ultra Rare called Rush Rare, and he was that. He was a Rush Rare card. And because of his generic removal effect, my voice cracked, because of his effect is completely generic in terms of removal, he cost, I think, like, between 60 to 80 USD, and if you look at conversion. But yeah, so for a Rush Duel card, that is very expensive. $60 to $80 was really expensive, and still is pretty expensive for a Rush card. Now, his requirement, in terms of that you need to tribute summon him using a level 5 or higher monster as tribute, is difficult for some decks to do. It's very costly.
Probably not no more.
Yeah, well, the thing is, in his own archetype accommodates for that. So Royal Rebels are all about tributing level 5 and higher monsters in order to use effects. So they have powerful effects which are, balanced out by the fact that you need to tribute high-level monsters to use them. And a lot of the cards in its effect in its archetype can get around this. There's a card called Palace Gargoyle, which can change its level from 4 to 5 as part of its effect. And, then you can just treat... There's a level 4 monster you can treat as as one of the tributes for it, and then you can use its effect to wreck the board. However, outside of its own archetype, a lot of decks struggle to use it. Not that it's completely unusable, mind you. There are decks which absolutely can make use of Royal Rebel Heavy Metal, but it's just a bit too specific, especially now that the game's progressed and there's more decks have got more specific boss monsters they can use, that it's not that splashable, and it only really sees play in its own deck, which, again, it's not terrible, but I put it more and missed the mark just because it's one of those cards which was so hyped up. And it kind of just, didn't reach it, Like, Magical Musketeers in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of people were very hyped up for them. And when they came out, they're like, oh yeah, they're good. People are like, they're good, they're gonna break the game. I'm like, no, they're just good. And that's Royal Rebel for you. Heavy Metal is like the Magical Musketeer of Rush. It very hyped up, and came out, like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. Not as broken as everyone thought, but granted, even now, at the time, again, that was because it was generic removal. And, that kind of, very powerful generic monster removal was not common. Now, again, as I've said before, the card pool's gotten much bigger, that kind of effect has become more common, so it's not as special anymore. But, yeah, not a bad card, but, not as good as you'd think. But, yeah, still the main boss monster in its own archetype. There are other Royal Rebel boss monsters, which are way more costly than it. I think there's one called, it's called Royal Rebels Death Metal, which destroys all level 4 or lower monsters on your opponent's field, but it requires you to tribute summon it with 2 level 5 or higher monsters, so it's really hard to use. And Heavy Metal is so much easier to use than that, and again, massive attack boost, so good card, but missed the mark. Moving on, we have Seven's Wonder Fusion. So I mentioned before that Fusion is in the game as the main spell card of it. This is an actual different fusion spell, so yeah. No requirement to summon it, to use it even. Its effect is, you can fusion summon by shuffling monsters from your field and or graveyard into the owner's deck as material, including Seven's Robe Magician. So you do need to, it doesn't need to be a monster using Seven's Robe Magician, but you can fusion summon from your field or grave.
Oh, it's Seven's Road Invocation. Yeah, it makes sense.
Exactly.
And you can play 3 of them. But what does it summon? That other dragon guy?
Yeah, the guy from before,
Seven's
Geass. Yeah, that was the guy.
I don't remember if that card was good. Ah, no.
I mean, you can still look at this card then, as an individual card.
If I looked at it as an individual card, this card's garbage.
Why'd you say that?
Because it only summons monsters that include 7 Road Magician. And as my knowledge, I only know 1.
Fair enough, yeah. Fair enough.
But in all reality, with all these mill cards that are in this fucking format, you instantly get all your material into the graveyard. So just like Fluffle Fusion, it's good.
Okay, so is that final answer?
Yeah, it has to be good.
No, wait, hang on. It is.
I'm not gonna bet eating my sock though, so.
What about just your shoe? That's probably worse than
I
eating
need
your
those
sock.
to walk. Yeah, I was like, I need those to walk. I have another pair of socks, but
Actually,
I mean, my shoes.
That reminds me, there's a VTuber I like called Haruka Caribou. She mentioned a story before, where when she was a child, she would eat a boot.
A boot?
Yes, I don't know why. She said she just, you know, when like you're a child. I think this was the case, right? When you're a child and you just kind of enjoy chewing on things. That's what she did, but she did it with this big boot. She would just chew on this boot and eat it.
Oh, you didn't let me make my joke sad.
Go ahead.
I was gonna make a Canadian joke.
Well, she's Canadian as well.
Because originally you said you eat a boot.
Eat
so
a
I
boot,
was like,
yeah.
why would she walk around eating? Why would she sit in one place eating? She'd walk around the boats everywhere.
That's even funnier because she
just chowing on my poutine.
Sorry. No, it's even funnier because she's so Canadian, like to the point where she's made a joke about it, and that Canadian is one of her character traits. But yeah, she used to eat a boot when she was a child. And yeah, I think it was just a weird kid thing. But moving on to 7.
Yeah, because it's so normal. Many kids ate boots in their lifetime. Weird kid thing, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we've all had that time where we've just thought, man, you know what, some tasty leather from that boot would be good.
Did you ever watch Racing Stripes?
I remember
the zebra?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I don't think I ever saw it in full. Go on. Yeah, I remember seeing some of it.
Snoop Dogg being the basset hound or the big old dog?
Holy shit, that's a blast from the past.
You remember what he said?
No, I can't remember that film very much at all. I remember he had like a talk with this girl horse, and it was like really like, oh man, you're not gonna race anymore, and it's like, what are you talking about?
No,
what did Snoop Dogg the Hound say? Or Snoop Hound?
Snoop Dogg the Hound, he said, hey, you know what they say? My mama would always tell me, you can put your boots in the oven, but that don't make them biscuits.
So dumb. Maybe it'll make him taste good, though.
Well, it's his dog mom, you know? It doesn't make them biscuits, it doesn't make them dog treats, but you can chew on boots.
Actually, this reminds me, there's a YouTube channel, like I probably mentioned on stream before, they're called Tasting History. The guy who runs it, he tries all a bunch of different recipes from throughout history, and one of them, he was doing this thing where, you know Captain Morgan from The Rum? Oh, so Captain Morgan was you see him a lot on rum and stuff now, like Captain Morgan spiced rum and everything. He was a real guy, a real explorer, a real pirate, as it were.
Oh,
and,
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And no, he was a real guy, and there's a written record of how him and his crew were so hungry that they started eating their own leather straps. For this one episode of Tasting History, he decided to eat leather. And it was actually a really hard process to do because apparently they boiled the leather. Now, he tried doing that with like different types of leather. The guy who runs it, Max Miller. However, there was lots of problems with it because a lot of leather now goes under a lot of like chemical tanning and stuff like that as well. And like to color it. That is not safe to eat, and he could smell it. He was boiling a lot of these leathers he was getting, and it's like, this is going to kill me if I eat it. So he had to like special order like freshly done untreated leather just so he could eat the leather. And it didn't taste good. It didn't taste of anything. It was chewable. But after like boiling for 2 hours, it was chewable. And that's about all he could get from it. But yeah, that was the only way he was able to eat it without it being completely toxic for him. But moving on to Seven's Wonder Fusion. Enough about boot eating. It was good. Seven's Wonder Fusion. It is the miracle fusion of Rush Jewels. You know, like, a lot of like alternate fusion cards in normal Yu-Gi-Oh use Miracle Fusion as a base for it. You know, like you banish elemental heroes from your grave. This is that, and a lot of the other cards you mentioned, like the Fluffle Fusion and everything like that. This is that. You know, this is the really only equivalent of it in. No, there's one other card which is kind of similar. I kind of an alternate fusion card, but yeah, this is fusion something from your grave. It gives you easy access to powerful fusion cards, like the aforementioned Seven's GS. There are also a bunch of other fusions involving Seven's Road as well, such as, there's a card called Seven's Chariot, and there's a card called Master of Seven's Road. Yeah, so it can take a bunch of advantage... yeah, it can take advantage of all of these. It's currently limited to 2 copies.
There's actually a ban list? Trash.
Yeah, no, there wasn't originally until I think middle of last year. I think it was the beginning of last year. No, yeah, beginning of last year. They didn't have a ban list, and they decided to introduce a restriction list into the game. But yeah, this is currently limited to 2 copies because it allows way too much versatility and easy kill potential. Because yeah, you can just run Seven's Road with whatever cards you need, and you just. Even if they die, you can just get it. Oh, that's another thing as well. Yeah, you can fuse Seven's Road with a card to get a fusion out, and then use this again to instantly fuse from the graveyard, because it's not hard once per turn; it's soft once per turn. So.
But why can't you use it in the graveyard?
Because its effect is fusion summon by shuffling.
Or if you had 2 in your hand.
Yeah, sorry.
If you had 2 in your hand?
Yeah. So if you have 2 in your hand, you could fuse, and yeah, you could fuse Seven's Road and Dragius together to get Seven's Gears, and then you could fuse. You activate another Wonder Fusion to fuse Seven's Road from your grave and another card to get one of its other fusions out. So yeah, it just allows way too much, ramps way too quickly essentially. So yeah, it's limited to 2 at the moment to try and stop that kind of thing. And a lot of people are thinking it wouldn't get touched because it is used by one of the main characters. And you know, much like Firewall Dragon, which had like main character immunity for the longest time, people were hoping that this wouldn't have that, and they decided to at least give it some kind of restriction, which is like, okay, it's better than nothing.
Firewall wasn't a long time.
Firewall was like 2 years.
No, it wasn't that long.
Would you want Firewall in for longer?
Huh?
Did you want Firewall Dragon in for longer? Because Firewall's...
Well, yeah, I played World Chalice.
Okay, fair. Still, it was like...
it was like, you know, Konami made the mistake of releasing the card, and it's a hero card. Leave it in the game.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, obviously Konami would never say this, but we basically all know Firewall Dragon stayed uncontested in the game for as long as possible because their main character, the anime, used it at the time. So yeah, that's why. But you know, one of the only main character cards to actually dominate a metagame. The only card which has gotten close really was Stardust Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. So yeah. Hi, Pluty Booty. I love the hiding in toilets tag on stream. Yeah, I can't. It's because of a story I mentioned a while ago. We can talk. I've told you about the story.
Tell the story while I go get my bottle of water.
Okay. Yeah. So the hiding in toilets tag is a long story from many moons ago. So on this cycle, when I got my new family on this cycle, because we've been around for a long time. So sometimes every couple hundred years, I'll get a new family just to experience what life is like. In this generation. Now, I was a baby when this happened, and I was playing hide and seek with my mother and my brother, and I don't know why, I decided it would be really funny to hide inside of a toilet. I'm like, oh, she'll never look here. So it all started in the summer of 1986. In the summer of 1986, it's when it all started. Yes, I was a baby. I decided, you know what, it'll be really funny to hide inside of a toilet. No one will look for me here. And my mum was trying to find me. Amazingly, I didn't drown, but I guess the water wasn't high. No, yeah, I wouldn't have drowned because water in toilets in the UK is not very high. I understand in America it's much higher. But in the UK, water's pretty low on toilets. But yeah, I stood in the toilet and was hiding.
You still stood in it.
Yeah, I did stand. But yeah, I was hiding in the toilet. My mum was trying to find me, and then she heard me just giggling, and then she came to me and like just saw me standing in the toilet, soaking wet, and she just pulled me out and just dripping water everywhere and just laughing my head off about it. So I stood in the toilet like Steve Jobs. When did Steve Jobs stand in a toilet? Was it when he licked my balls?
Oh my god. Alright, after that, when are we done here?
Okay, it's fine. Sorry. Moving on.
Oh god.
Another legend
bringing
card.
Fortnite into this.
That wasn't Fortnite. That's a meme. It's like, who, like, oh my god, did you hear Steve Jobs died of ligma? Who's Steve Jobs? Ligma balls.
Yeah, but it was Ninja that it was the funniest on, so you're
Really? I never heard of it from Ninja. I just saw it because my brother sent it to me, and I kept seeing memes. It's a meme template, you know? It's not a Ninja meme. You know?
It's a Ninja meme.
Are there any Ninja memes? I don't know. I don't know what that guy does. Does he just play Fortnite? Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, yeah. Yeah. Why is that a legendary card, man? Get Aquaman with a whale head out of here.
Yeah, I put Dark Level 7 Spellcaster by accident here.
What the heck?
That was wrong. This is Abyss Soldier. This is a legend card brought in from the OG Yu-Gi-Oh! Sorry, this should have been level 4 Aqua. Water Aqua level 4.
Aqua.
Yeah. So, 1800 attack, 1300 defense. Requirement. Ninja, ain't that a kitchen appliance? I mean, it's a brand of kitchen appliance, isn't it?
Yes.
Requirement. Send a water attribute monster from your hand to the grave. Return one card from the field to the owner's hand.
It's also a secret warrior group from ancient rural Japan.
Yes.
Nobody thinks of it that way.
No, no one. No one's ever... Everyone thinks about Japanese ninjas and like, what the hell is that? Sounds like toothpaste or something. Actually, interesting thing, ninjas were actually some of the most loyal people around. Like, you know, I think we have this idea that, well, they're essentially like old-fashioned spies, right? And you'd expect the spies to be pretty disloyal, but no, ninjas were extremely loyal, far more loyal than many of the samurai who claimed to swear fealty to their lord. Many ninja would go down with the lord. So yeah,
well,
you could trust.
Somebody educated me on ninjas. And apparently they're not even, or let's say the ninjas with the black coverings, they're not even actual warrior ninjas.
No, yeah.
Because you know about that?
I do know that like blue was actually a more preferable color for a lot of ninjas because it blended in more with the night sky. So if they're in the dark, they were less likely to be spotted than if they were wearing pitch black. But
well, in theater, the theater hands would wear the same ninja outfit, but it would be in black.
Yeah.
So in theater, the actual ninjas were in blue, but for whatever reason, American Hollywood stuck to the black ones, and all they're the ones that were doing was all the stage effects and bringing in all the stage equipment during the dark scenes.
Yeah, and the thing is, you still see that on Japanese theater. First off, I didn't know that. That's really cool. Thank you for telling me that. I love learning about theater facts like that. Second, I have seen like theater shows where they still do that kind of thing, and like really funny stuff where like you'll have. I saw this like comedy skit or something where some guy was like, it was like his head was being moved off from his body. Like he was like screaming because his head got chopped off, and like it was like all these people in pitch black in the background had moved props around, so it looked like his head had been detached from his body. It was really, really funny and really, really creative how they did it. Love that kind of stuff. That's really awesome to hear. I'll look into more on that though, because that's super cool to hear about. But yeah, speaking of blue, let's talk about this guy, Abyss Soldier. What do you think? Send a water attribute card from your hand to the grave, return it to the owner's hand. And it is your legend card, so it does take up your one legend slot, or at least your one legend monster slot now.
That card's good. That's it.
No reasoning?
It made it smart.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. You just got it straight away. Yeah, bouncing anything, it's great. Even in, you know, a format where normal summons are infinite. You know, and against like fusion monsters and maximum monsters, it's as good, like in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! It's as good as destruction. Also, there's lots of water cards in a variety of decks that you can take advantage of. You don't need to run it in a specific aqua deck or anything like that. You can just run it in any kind of deck running water cards of any variety, and like Abyss Soldier will do a solid job for you. Also, 1,800 attack and 1,300 defense on a level 4 in Rush Duel are very good stats. Fantastic stats even, actually, on a level 4 on Rush. So yeah, Abyss Soldier's great.
Yeah, because I think GOAT format is 19.
Yeah. Like 19.
The best level 4 is the highest attack on a level 4.
Yeah,
is
like
19.
Yeah. Like even now, like I think if a card, it's kind of that set the standard for level 4. Even now, if like a card is under 19, being generous, under 18, it's not very high powered. It's seen as between like middle to low. Yeah. If you're running a normal monster now, especially 1900 or 1800 is good, but preferably 1900. You even have 2000 attack monsters now. Obviously, what's it, Gene Warped Warwolf, is it called? Yeah, that guy's 2000.
Yeah, Gene Warped, because I use him.
Yeah. He's cool. He's a cool guy. Moving on though, we have a bit of a different card completely. This is XQT Lilius. So this is a dark level 6.
You are right, Flutie Booty. Absolutely correct.
Hang on, what did Flutie Booty say?
1800 attack on a level 4 is decent even in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. It's not bad at all. So yeah, and in Rush Duel, that is honestly fantastic. 1800. But yeah, moving on, we have XQT Lilia. So this is a level 6 Dark Fiend. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Pluto. It didn't show up on my stream for some reason there. Yeah. 2,500 attack, 500 defense, and it's a level 6. So this actually has an inherent summon effect, which is the first time I put one of these on here. So if you have a face-up level 6 monster with 500 defense on your field, you can special summon this card from your hand face-up to your field. And its effect is that it doesn't have a requirement, it's just a continuous effect. Your level 7 or higher monsters cannot attack. So yeah.
Why is it that you have 3 of these? Your board consists of 3 monsters that equal 666. And then you can't attack with any higher than that?
666 party with the devil, bitch. But yeah,
Konami, you got some explaining to do here.
I mean, you could. It is have 500 defense, so yeah, if you could have this out on the field and then special summon another one instantly if you wanted to.
I don't think this card is that great.
You don't think? Yeah.
I think it's a good card, but I don't think it's able to make a mark because of its standard attack. It doesn't have no attack increasing effects.
Fair enough. And it does have that negative effect as well. Your level 7 or higher monsters can't attack, so you can't really use any level 7 higher cards with it. I understand what you're saying. However, this card is fantastic. Why is Rush Duel artwork so cool? Because they made the design of the cards way cleaner, and they've got full art cards as well. But yeah, XQT Lilius is fantastic. So it's currently limited to 1 copy. That's how good this card is.
What the hell?
I'm going to explain why. So XQT is regarded as many as the first tier 0 deck in Rush Duel.
Oh, well, yeah, again, game knowledge, or else that's why it's 50-50 for me again.
Yeah. And, that's kind of the part of the fun of this game. You've got to try and guess a bit. But, so XQTs, they are a series of cute girls, so that's probably why people like them as well. But they're all a bunch of level 6 monsters, which can all special summon themselves. It's really the first deck in Rush Duel which is all special summon focused, which, is mixed opinions. It's kind of power creeping the game too much for a lot of people, but, yeah. They're all level 6 monsters with 500 defense, and they're very much an anti-level 7 or higher deck. So it makes it so that you can't use any level 7 or higher monsters, but it also stops your opponent from making any plays with level 7 or higher monsters as well. And because most of the game is level 7 or higher monsters, XQT dominated when they came out. And Lilius was not the main engine piece for them, but it was the highest level card the highest card you went into in terms of power. And yeah, it's the main boss monster essentially. Now 2,500 attack on a level 6 is great, and most level 7s had that as well, but this is essentially... So Summon Skull is in the game, right, as a legend card, And, you know, that is a normal monster which costs 1 tribute and is 2500 attack, and that's at a legend. This is essentially 3 summon skull, which can... Yeah, this is a summon skull which can special summon itself, and has a negative effect, but if you run it in XQTs, the negative effect is a non-issue, because you don't run any level 7s anyway. Your entire deck is level 6 monsters, and maybe lower, but mostly level 6 monsters. So that continuous effect is a non-issue for you. So yeah, turns out being able to get out 3 free summon skulls with no tributes is really, really good. So it's limited to 1 copy. And there are some other cards from XQT which were limited as well. I think there's 1 card which is limited to 2, or I think it's got taken off now actually. But yeah, XQT dominated the game. Really one of the first big, probably the first tier 0 deck in many people's minds for Rush Duel. It was just so powerful when it first came out. And that was only last year as well. I think in March last year they came out. So yeah, XQT Lilius, good card. Not the main engine piece for them by any means, but it's just that was their top end, you know? So yeah, they gave it the Dero Malicious treatment. I'm trying to remember what Dero Malicious is. Or is that... Oh, D-Hero Malicious even. Sorry, I read that wrong. Dero Malicious. But yeah, XQT Lilia is good card. Now here's a fan favorite, you know, in very big quotations. Cannon Soldier. We all love Cannon Soldier. Dark level 4 machine. 1,400
Why
attack.
is this not legendary?
Well, let's have a look at it. 1,300 defense. Send a monster from your field to the grave, inflict 500 damage. So yeah. We all love Cannon Soldier. We all love how great Cannon Soldier is. You know, it's totally not been a problem card throughout the OCG and TCG. Huh?
Yeah, that's the best card in the game.
Best card in the game. Yeah, I mean, you know, and yeah, I mean, you probably guessed by now, if cards have been brought over from normal Yu-Gi-Oh! And they've been good, generally they'll be good in Rush Duels as well, right? Or like effects which are good in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Are also good in Rush Duel. That's why it's very surprising that this card is missed the mark completely. It's not good. Cannon Soldier is really whatever. It's not capable of the OTKs, which it's infamous for in the OCG and TCG. You know, OCG has banned it because it just keeps constantly popping up. TCG bans cards which can take advantage of it instead. But yeah, all the shenanigans which it can do in those formats are not a thing here. Because it's a soft once per turn by default. And yeah, in normal Yu-Gi-Oh, you can use the effect instantly to tribute a monster and then inflict 500 damage. In Rush Duel, as I mentioned earlier on, I don't remember, every effect is soft once per turn. So you can use it once, and then you would need to get out another one to use it again. Also, a lot of effects which can take advantage of OTKs with Cannon Soldier and normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Have a lot of recycling and recursion to keep getting monsters on the field. Cannon Soldier does not have that. No, sorry, that's not a thing in Rush Duel here. There are recycling, but it's nowhere near as powerful. The amount of recursion you can get is not enough to make an OTK with Cannon Soldier feasible. And overall, as a result of that, it's kind of whatever. Its stats are okay. They're not amazing, but, you know, 1,400, 1,300? In Rush Duel, that's pretty decent on a level 4 monster. But ultimately, it's kind of just... It's not really done anything. There's no kind of, like... It's not broken yet. Yeah, and I don't know if it will be, because keep in mind, there's only 3 monster slots as well, so it's not as easy to do. And again, one of the big reasons why it's so broken in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Is because it's not once per turn. It is once per turn here. And realistically, in order to keep using it, you would need to recycle it over and over and over again. You need 3 copies which you can constantly keep recycling. And that's kind of difficult to do. So, yeah, Cannon Soldier not made any kind of reasonable impact on the game at all. It's actually just perfectly fine in Rush Duels. one of the most annoying cards and problematic cards in the game's history, is just fine. It's just like whatever in Rush. How cool is that?
Well, you know what else is whatever?
Your
mom.
Okay, I needed to. No. No. Okay.
Mic drop.
This is so sad, bros. Play Despacito.
Did you say play Despacito?
No, it's an old meme.
Ask Alexa to do it.
Alexa, play Welcome to the Cum Zone. Redeemed clown nose? God damn it, gotta kick him while they're low. Okay.
Phantom, what the fuck?
Have you heard that song?
You could've just... No!
It's so fucked up, it's really funny though.
My girlfriend forced me, I never seen it. She forced me, because I love her, to watch What in the Butt. Never seen it before her, avoided it as much as possible.
And how
was I gonna tell her no? No.
So
but did I now see what in the butt and I hate my life? Yes.
So you enjoyed it then?
No. Gotta kick them while they're low. Thank you, Pluty. Pluty, thank you. But now your name, Pluty Booty, is reminding me of what in the butt, and now I'm just falling apart.
God damn it.
Why? Why? Why?
Okay, I'll not show you Welcome to the Cum Zone. Then I think you'll actually be mind broken by the end of that. You'll be needing therapy. Like, yeah, so I met this guy online. He's all right, but he sent me this weird video, and now I think he's the worst human being alive. Let's try and move past the butts, and instead talk about the giant tortoise of greed. It's a normal trap. When your opponent normal summons a monster, you draw 2 cards. And I love this guy's artwork. It's a tortoise with Pot of Greed's head and Jar of Greed as the shell. That's awesome. What a cool design.
This isn't a continuous trap,
No, this is a normal trap.
So you have to respond to an opponent's normal summon?
Yes.
Huh.
Jar of Greed, I think, is only draw 1, isn't it? On your opponent's turn. You just activate it and draw 1. This is draw 2, but when your opponent normal summons.
Yeah, the only issue I'm having is how many cards exist in the TCG that, upon summon, effects cannot be activated. And I don't know if Rush Duel has those monsters.
Fair enough.
Effects can't be activated in response to this
I did
card
mention
summon.
before that, like, with, like, Dark Revelation, that interruptions like that aren't super common. So I will say that, like, a lot of interruptions like Dark Revelation aren't super common.
Yeah, you probably gotta play 3 of these. I don't know. But the whole issue is the fact that you can draw till 5. Why would you run draw cards on your opponent's turn?
I don't know, you tell me. What do you think?
I don't know, let's say this thing just made its mark because it draws 2 cards on your opponent's turn.
Oh, hang on, please.
It draws 2.
Please, you mentioned when effect. When and if effects aren't differentiated in Rush Duel. Or at least not to the same extent. So it's not you don't miss timing like in normal Yu-Gi-Oh. You can't miss timing, rather.
That's stupid.
How is it hang on. So
I told you Rush Duel sucks.
Not being able to miss timing is dumb, but being able to miss timing is smart. No, that's.
It takes skill to play Yu-Gi-Oh. That's what nobody understands. Everybody,
I don't know.
Why is Yu-Gi-Oh so complicated?
It also requires like basic literacy as well.
Reading. Yeah, all you need to do is read the cards.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly,
Oh, I
it does
missed
feel good.
timing.
It does feel good planning out like a huge chain of cards. You know, it feels genuinely good. It's one of like the unique
Yeah.
things to Yu-Gi-Oh, having massive chains, and like getting one off is really cool. But yeah, what do you think? Giant Tortoise
Yeah.
of Greed, yay or nay? Did it make the mark or miss the mark?
I'm just gonna say it made the mark because draw 2.
You were really on the right tracks there. You should have said miss the mark because yeah, this card, it's not great. It is only usable on the opponent's turn. Drawing 2 is normally good, but you know, like you said, you draw until you have 5 cards every turn. So, and at the start of your turn anyway. So, it's only really useful if you set it and then you end the turn with a high number with a high number of cards. So, like if you like, okay, I have 5 cards. I can't play anything. I'll just set this. So you're on 4, and then you can draw 2 on your opponent's turn. So you'll be on 6.
Yeah,
And then at the start of your next turn, you'll draw to set. Yeah. Also, in Rush, if you already start on 5, you just draw 1 at the beginning of your turn. So in that scenario, you draw until 7. This card looks great as a token. I know, right? It does, doesn't it? Like a greed token or something. But yeah, you were really on the right track. I think you should have gone down that route more. But yeah, there's no point running it. Like, it's not a bad card. Again, draw 2 is still draw 2, but when you're drawing until 5 every turn anyway, it's just like a wasted slot.
Yeah, but you're telling me no point in running it, but I have no game knowledge, and if there's hand traps, then that card is good.
Okay, I will say now, there are no hand traps. At least not at the moment. I hope they never come into the game.
See, but it's just things like that.
Yeah,
like...
yeah. But, yeah, I mean, no, you were on the right track there with it, though. Like, considering you draw cards every turn until 5, being able to draw cards on your opponent's turn is not super useful, because you'll just get those cards anyway. So, yeah, you're better off just running cards you can just dump from your hand anyway instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, it is only when your opponent normal summons, so if they don't do that, well, it's a dud on the field. You know, they might already have an established board which they don't want to get rid of, and they're just fine with it, or, like with executed beforehand, they might just be special summoning all the time, in which case it doesn't do anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a whole exemption.
Yeah, no, yeah, honestly, yes, they are.
Yeah.
XQT are an exemption. Special summoning, despite it being more common now, it's still not super common, so, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got another maximum monster here. This is a lot here, so... This is Abyssal Dragon Lord, Abyss Poseidra.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that this card missed the mark. Because the other one did too.
Yeah, and also because you can't be bothered reading through it all.
Alright, well, what does it do? Requirement, if you have 5 or more sea serpent type monsters in your... I can't see.
Okay, I'll just read it out for you. So, the left part, it's 2,500. They're all dark level 10 sea serpents. Sorry, it's 2,300 attack, the left part. If you've got 5 or more sea serpents in your grave, place all monsters from your grave on the bottom of your deck in any order. Then, so if you do that, you destroy 1 monster on your opponent's field. Any 1 monster. Then, if it's in maximum mode, and you place 3 or more maximum monsters to meet the requirement of its effect, you can destroy all cards on your opponent's field. So, you place all 5 sea serpents from your grave on the bottom of your deck, destroy a monster, and if it's in maximum mode and you send other maximum monsters, minimum 3, back to your deck, you destroy all of the cards in the field.
Other maximum monsters?
Yeah, so basically it's like, if you have other parts of this card which you weren't able to use, you can just send them back into your deck from your grave. And if you send 3, you can destroy your opponent's entire board.
So you would need to run a whole maximum deck?
Yeah. The middle part, it's maximum summon with the 2 other parts to it. Requirement, none. Continuous effect, if you've got no monsters in your grave, your opponent cannot activate trap cards when it declares an attack. Also, if it's in maximum mode, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And the last part, 2,400 attack, if you've got no monsters in your grave, your opponent cannot set monsters from their hand. Also, if it's in maximum mode, your opponent has a face then spell trap on the field, your opponent cannot set spell and trap cards from their hand. What do you think?
I don't know. I wanna say it's good, but maximum cards are just trash.
Yeah, that's fair. So you're saying it missed the mark.
Yeah.
This card made its mark. This card is fantastic. And I'm going to explain why. So, this card came out much later than the first one, Yggdrago. And by this time, they'd kind of reworked how Maximum Monsters worked. And they'd introduced new mechanics and new cards in order to try and streamline the process. For one, probably the biggest thing, these cards are not vanilla if you do not have the maximum mode. They are all level 10, but they don't have they're not completely unusable. The middle part, for example, is a level 10 with 2,500 attack, and if it's not in maximum mode, it still has the continuous effect of if you've got no monsters in your grave, your opponent can't activate trap cards when it declares an attack. And then it has an additional effect if it's in maximum mode. And that's the other thing. That's how they kind of change maximum monsters to be better. So rather than just having to get all the pieces in your hand and they're all just kind of vanilla duds before that, now a lot of maximum monsters will have things where it's like, oh yeah, it can be used outside of maximum mode, but it gets additional things which are better if it's in maximum mode. And of course it's at 4,000 attack in maximum mode. So yeah, and not to mention as well, you want to know this, but Sea Serpents get tons of support in Rush Duel. Sea Serpents are super popular. And yeah, there's a bunch of really awesome Sea Serpent cards which can take advantage of this guy. Or this guy can take advantage of to get it out in the field way easier. So yeah, Poseidra actually is a good card. It's a good card. It looks like a Shadowverse card. Yeah, I totally get what you mean. Yeah, I can totally see this guy in Shadowverse. But yeah, Poseidra is actually a good maximum. It's a more modern maximum. So I'm not gonna lie, I put this in to deliberately like fake you out with it because like, oh well, if Drago is bad, surely this guy is bad. No, this guy's pretty good. There's been a lot of toppings with him actually as well. So yeah, good card. They've just changed how they do maximum monsters now, and now maximums actually work better than they did. It still suffers from some of the issues, like, you know, if you're not able to get it out quick enough, then you're a bit fucked. But it is still usable. So yeah, we've been for 2 hours now. I don't know how long you want to keep going for, but I do have like 25 cards on this list. I didn't know how many we'd get through, so I just put 25 on. But
Jesus Christ!
I put a lot of work into this PowerPoint. I didn't think.
I see you did.
So the thing is, with like the quiz show I did about Pokemon, a couple back in December, November, I think it was. Like there was like 90 questions on there. I didn't use all 90, but I had like 50 slides on there. We barely got through 30 of them. So like I was trying to like, I decided, you know what, for this we'll do less. But for there was also 3 people. This is just you, but also we're just kind of chatting as well while doing it. So. But yeah, we can end it whenever you want, man. So if you want to head off, you can do. But just don't know when. For now, though, we have Magic Cylinder. Everyone knows this guy. We all love and hate Magic Cylinder. Classic card. When an opponent's monster closes an attack, negate the effect and inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack. I think this is the first Legend Trap card I put on here.
We're speedrunning this. You know why this one made its mark?
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't target like the original card. So it's made its mark. It's good.
It made its mark. Also, it is an attack negation. Any form of negation in Rush is very rare. So, and yeah, attack negation is actually quite a premium effect. And you know, potentially huge amount of damage. It can swing the game in your favor, or it can just win you the game by itself. So like Poseidra before, it can negate trap cards and reactivate in the battle phase. It is potentially walled by maximums, but that's like just one matchup really. It's a niche, and it's still plenty effective against in a lot of decks. Interestingly, actually, so Red Eyes is also in the game as a legend card, and because Red Eyes is low stats for a level 7 realistically, they gave it a bunch of support cards as well, like, you know, Red Eyes Burn? Yeah. So, you know, that card makes it that Red Eyes can't attack, but it inflicts 2,400 damage. There was a bit of a rogue option coming out, rogue deck, which had, like, Red Eyes and Magic Cylinder together, and it was essentially like a Red Eyes Burn deck. Where you just ran Magic Cylinder and 3 copies of Red Eyes Burn, and you just try and deal as much life point damage as possible, because you can easily do, like, 2,000 damage with all of them together. So... Yeah, that I don't think that was ever really meta, but it is like a fun niche deck which came up as a rogue option, which is really cool. And I think that's a really cool idea of like taking advantage of what's in the game, despite the limited card pool. But yeah, Magic Stone is great. Barrier Statue of the Inferno. Fire, level 4 Pyro.
Barrier statues?
Barrier Statue of the Inferno, yes. Requirement none. Continuous effect. Each player can only special summon fire attribute monsters.
Wow, they really nerfed Barrier Statue.
It's the same effect. Each player can only special summon fire attribute monsters. Isn't that the same effect?
I thought the Barrier Statues aren't allowed to summon at all unless it is that attribute. I thought you couldn't normal or special summon monsters unless it was
no,
the Barrier Statue's attribute.
I think it is just special summon. Maybe look it up. If they did nerf it, so admittedly they have changed the effects of some cards just to make them work more in Rush Duels, because some cards just wouldn't work. Like a Dark Magician Girl is in Rush Duel, but had her effect changed to actually be more in line with the original manga version of her. So normally her effect is that she gains 300 attack for each Dark Magician and Magician of Black Chaos in your grave. Magician of Black Chaos is not in the game because ritual monsters aren't in, and you're only allowed one Dark Magician because it's a legend card. So instead they changed Dark Magician Girl's effect to it gains 500 attack for each Dark Magician in both players' graveyards.
Okay, so you are correct. I wasn't accusing you of being wrong.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No,
it's the wording.
Yeah, no, it is the wording. Yeah, but no, it is the same effect.
Yeah, neither player can special summon monsters except for Earth monsters. That's why.
Yeah. Obviously.
That's why I was like, each player can only. I was like, huh?
What do you think then?
Well, this is just a 50-50, so speedrun this one too. I'm gonna say it didn't make it because I don't know about any pyro fire attribute decks, mono decks in the game.
Okay, so you're gonna say it missed the mark.
It's just a 50-50 for me.
Yeah, fair enough. This card is banned. Just recently, a couple of weeks ago, became the first ever banned card in Rush. It's the only banned card at the moment.
Oh, so I guess it's... Yeah, that's all I was about to say.
Yeah,
I
so,
guess it made its mark.
Yeah. So, barrier statues have seen play throughout normal Yu-Gi-Oh, right? There normally is a bit of a tech option, like, against, like, mono attribute decks, because it can shut them down, essentially. So, that kind of floodgate effect in Rush Duel is insane. Even in a format where there's more focus on normal summons, it shuts down way too many things. The maximum monsters, fusion monsters, just cards which can special summon themselves, unless they are fire, they are stopped by Barrier Statue. And keep in mind, Pyro, heavily supported in Rush Duel, right? There was an archetype from the first series which called Noodle Ninjas, which are very cool, which they're what they sound, they're ninjas who use
Noodle Ninjas?
Yeah, they're really fun, they're really cool. Recently as well, in the current anime, there's one of the main characters uses a pyro deck all around. They're all based around like chemistry things, and his main card is a card called Chemicalized Salamander. It's really sick. It's like a weird wolf lizard thing. But pyro, and they're not all fire, but a lot of pyro are fire type and a fire attribute inevitably. So this is kind of introduced to support them. Because of it's such a powerful effect though, people will just run it in non-pyro decks at 3 copies as a way to shut down plays. And because you can just tribute it very easily, you could just play it at the end of your turn, make it so that your opponent can't special summon anything on their turn, and then on your next turn you can just tribute it for a strong monster and just go for game. And yeah, this card is just way too good. That kind of floodgate effect in Rush is why. Yeah,
that's why it's so much better than normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Because in normal Yu-Gi-Oh, even if you did summon a barrier statue, that's so special summon heavy in that game that you wouldn't tribute off the barrier statue.
Yeah. It's honestly the versatility of that combined with its oppressively powerful floodgate effect is way too much for Rush. It is currently banned, and it's currently the only banned card in the game. I think it was like 2 weeks ago that was made. So, yeah. Barrier Statue, absolutely fantastic card. Completely, it was a mistake to put in Rush Duel, realistically. Like, I think even as a legend card, I don't know if this card would be too much at one copy, but yeah, this card is great.
Let me take a quick restroom break.
Okay, no worries. In the meantime, we'll have this lady on the page.
Another Digimon?
No, she's not a Digimon. You know Dying Keto, the Cure Master? This is like a retrain of her, but as a monster. What? Fair enough. Yeah, so, Pluty, Dying Keto, it's pretty funny. So, we all know Dying Keto. Spell card. Actually, I thought it was a man originally. I didn't realize it was a woman because we didn't have the art with her boobs hanging out originally. But yeah, she's like an old woman. You heal 1,000 life when you use her. In Rush, they've done this interesting thing of deciding to make a bunch of monsters, which are all based on her, and it's all just her doing like different careers throughout her life. Like there's one which is her. It's just like going to a party as like a gold digger. You know, there's one where she's a chef. And there's another one as well. I can't remember, but yeah, a bunch of different Dying Keto variants. They're all Aqua type as well. They have different attributes and stuff. Yeah, and they're all about life point gain. And there's a whole deck focused around them all. And it's really funny. And yeah, this is like the second one released for them, I think. It's weird. It's saying I can gift a subscription to myself. Oh wait, no, of course you can do that. Yeah, of course. How would I not? Of course you can do that.
All right.
Yeah, no, it's just explained to Pluty. So, yeah, Rush Duel is full of variants of Dying Keto as monster variants, and they're all kind of like showing Dying Keto as a younger woman going through different careers in her life. I guess this is when she was a security warden at a prison. Yeah, they're all about life point gain. The entire Aqua type archetype, all about them, all about Dying Keto and friends, doing things. And yeah, so this is Dying Keto, the Security Master, level 8 Dark Aqua monster, 2,500 attack and 1,000 defense. You can send a card from your hand to the grave, and if you do, you look at your opponent's hand and send one card from it to the grave. Then, if you send a level 7 or higher card, you gain 1,000 life. So yeah, discard one to look at your opponent's hand, discard one from their hand, and then gain 1,000 life points if you discard a level 7 or higher monster.
Made it smart.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's, I guess it's just because of the hand destruction effect and the knowledge you get.
I was gonna make a joke that she didn't make her mark, but the whole reason why you have her in here is to trick me because she made a mark on your heart. Because, oh, pretty women on card.
Actually, I'm not really into femdom, so... she did miss the mark, though. She missed it completely. So, okay.
You did miss the mark?
Yeah, so I just want to explain something. Again, this is one of those cards where it's not terrible, but the deck itself, which it's used in, this whole, like, Aqua deck of, like, reimagining old cards from Yu-Gi-Oh, old women from Yu-Gi-Oh as like hip girls and everything. I don't know. They're all about life point gain. The deck itself has never been super competitive, just because it really struggles to make any kind of like meaningful offensive presence unless you're putting in a bunch of other cards. Like putting Dragius in is very common to do, just because again it offers instant offensive pressure. But yeah, so yeah. Due to drawing till 5 every turn, you are encouraged to drop as much of your hand as possible. I already mentioned that before, but because of that, you may not even have any cards in your hand to get discarded by its effect. And even if you do, you might only have a small number of cards of your hand. You have 2 cards, so the amount of knowledge your opponent would get about your hand is minimal if you have like only a small hand size or no hand at all. So you might not even be able to use its effect. The archetype itself is part of a life point gain strategy, but the life point gain, you might miss it, you know, because you need to discard a level 7 or higher monster, so you might not be able to get any life points from it. And yeah, as I mentioned before, the archetype itself of these like aqua cards is just, it's not strong offensively and doesn't do enough. This doesn't do enough to help it out. They are still usable. Again, I think almost every card in Rush Duel is usable. That's the thing. But it's not made any kind of meaningful mark. And, you know, the effect itself is strong. I imagine in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! This effect would actually be way stronger. Just because, you know, it's a discard from your opponent's hand and you get to see their entire hand. That's like Snatch Steal, you know? But, yeah. Anyway, yeah, unfortunately, Dying Keto, the Security Master, did not make any kind of big mark on the game. She was like a nice addition to the deck, though, as like a more offensive option when the first Dying Keto retrain they had in here just kind of gave you 1,000 life, which, yeah, whatever. So yeah, she's something, but didn't make much of a competitive mark. We have another fusion here. Altiera the Sky... Yeah, Altiera the Sky Savior Transience. It's a Dark level 9. Celestial Warrior, that's another unique type to the game. Celestial Warrior fusion. Why'd I put 3,000 attack? That's 2,600 attack, 2,400 defense.
On so many places on this. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But, yeah, fusion material, Ciela the Sky Savior Knight, and Lua the Sky Savior Angel. So yeah, if you can't figure out, that's the archetype Sky Savior. Requirement none. Continuous effect. Your opponent cannot activate normal spell cards, except fusion.
What?
They can only activate one type of normal spell card, and that is fusion. The card fusion. Which, as I mentioned before, is just a weaker polymerization.
I know. That's, what? Well, it's just gonna. I feel like this is just gonna be another 50-50 for me right here.
Well, I mean, it does stop your opponent from playing normal spells, essentially, if they don't have a fusion. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I understand that, but still, I don't know what the path to getting Cilia and Luya is. So,
yeah, no,
Lua.
Fair enough.
So I don't know if they're difficult or just a couple level 4s, or if this archetype even has their own fusion summon.
Fair enough.
Spell card. Yeah. So. You know. You know what? It didn't make its mark.
It didn't. Why would you do that straight away after saying that? You're such a dick. Unfortunately, you didn't smell this one out there because it absolutely made its mark. So, yeah. So, like Bat Inferno before it, just then, its Floodgate effect is way too powerful and it shuts down way too many decks. You know, even if like the materials were hard to get out, it's still worth it just to get it out because, you know, if your opponent isn't running a fusion deck, they won't be running fusion, meaning they can't play any normal spells. So they just kind of have to try and beat over this, which at 2,600 is not the easiest thing to do in Rush Duels. Yeah, and even with destruction effects being more common, that's another thing. Yeah. By the time this came out, which is fairly recently, I guess, destruction's more common, but there's still not enough to consistently deal with it. And a big part of that is because it's level 9, like a lot of destruction effects target level 8 and lower, not level 9 or higher. So yeah, it can get around a lot of it. So it's kind of difficult to get rid of consistently. And so the fusion material are very easy to use actually. One of the fusion material, I think it was Ciela, the Sky Savior, she recently got limited to make getting out Altiera less consistent. And yeah, Sky Savior's got really good thanks to Altiera here. And thanks to Ciela, so yeah. Ciela's been limited to 1 copy, which is severely limited how easy it is to get out Altiera here. So yeah, it's a good card. Yeah, good card. Next we have another normal monster. Look at this little guy. This is Strange Cat. Or Stray Familiar as it would be in the Japanese version, but yeah. Level 1 Earth Spellcaster with 0 attack and 1,400 defense. A familiar said to hold great powers. It doesn't like being alone, and it's very lonely now that it's been separated from its friends. Isn't that the saddest thing you've ever heard? This little cat can't find its friends, and it's really sad about it.
I don't like cats.
Okay, never mind then. Fuck cats, am I right? This card
Yeah,
makes me want to
exactly.
shoot mice.
Yeah, see, nobody thinks it's a good card. This card is garbage unless 1-for-1 exists, and I'm sure if 1-for-1 exists, it would be a legendary card, which you wouldn't want because you have polymerization. So this card is garbage.
I don't think one is. I don't know if 1-for-1's in the game actually. It probably would be a legend though. Absolutely, you're right. This card made its mark a little bit, kind of like how Royal Demons Royal Rebels Heavy Metal even kind of missed the mark a bit. This made a bit of a mark, and so the reason why. So this is kind of also just.
That's not one of the options. I'm rebelling. You didn't give me a middle ground option in this. You're asking me if it made its mark or if it didn't.
Royal rebelling?
I was wrong either way.
Are you royal rebelling? Like Royal Rebels Heavy Metal? Are you royal rebelling? Okay, she left.
No, imagine if I actually left.
Imagine. Oh, you can't write this shit. No, it's okay. So this is admittedly a bit more like a placeholder for a bunch of these cards. So there are a lot of cards in the game which are vanilla cards, vanilla level 1 monsters with 0 attack and then 1400 defense. And they've often seen use. So I mentioned before about Abyss Soldier having very, very good stats. You know, even normal you get stats are pretty good for a level 4, but in Rush Duel, Abyss Soldier stats are incredible for a level 4. And the reason why is because most of the time in Rush, the highest attack for a level 4 monster is 1,500. And that is very uncommon. When it is there, it's often on a card which has a downside of having 0 defense, or it's on an old card brought in from the original game, like a Faithbird is a card which has 1,500 attack and 1,100 defense, and that was came up as a common vanilla level 4 beat stick. Same with Gazelle, King of Mythical Beasts. They both have 1,500 attack, and so they both saw play because of that. So because that is the upper limit most of the time for level 4s, having cards like this as a wall is actually pretty good, because it blocks out a lot of low level cards from dealing any damage to you. Like lots and lots of level 4 and lowers struggle to get over 1,400. So yeah, it means cards like Strange Cat can see play. Now I'm not going to lie to you and say it's the best card ever, because, you know, it is still a vanilla. It's a vanilla with 0 attack. And it's certainly not what you go for now. And even then, it was kind of power crept, so they introduced a card called Doriado from normal Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is also an Earth spellcaster, which has 1,400 defense, but also 1,200 attack, so it's better in a lot of ways. Yeah, that kind of power crept it, but it's still usable thanks to a lot of support. It is a spellcaster, so it can take advantage of a lot of spellcaster-based strategies. There's also like specific support dedicated to Strange Cat, actually. I don't know why. Maybe they just like the idea of having this like little cat as like a recurring card throughout Rush. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie and say it's the best card in the world, because it's certainly not. But it's usable, and it has seen use in the past. Also, regarding Seven's Robe Magician, you know, you want different attributes in the grave. Good choice for that if you're running an all spellcaster deck, because at least at launch, the only other Earth spellcaster in the game was a level 5 card called Mask of Volos, which had some like weird attack point changing effect. So yeah, Mask of Volos was the only other one. So Strange Cat was a good option to put in Seven's Road deck. So yeah. And here we have Grand Extreme Spell, normal spell card. You can special summon a fish or sea serpent from your hand face up. And then shuffle up to 5 monsters from your opponent's grave into the deck.
That card's good.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. It is good. This card's fantastic. This is one of those cards I think would be good in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, like a free special summon from your hand for... Sure, the type is limited, but it's any fish or sea serpent, and that kind of graveyard disruption, even in normal Yu-Gi-Oh, that would be pretty good, considering how many decks use the graveyard now.
Well, the thing is, this should have been put before the other maximum.
Oh yeah,
card.
yeah. Okay, that's my bad, but you know what? It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. I just wanted to give an example.
That's why this one was easy. I was like, oh, this special summons any 3 of those pieces. All right.
Yeah. And again, those cards are all usable by themselves as well, which is good. So yeah. This is fantastic. It's currently limited to 1 copy. Yeah, and it's.
Why don't they make a legendary print?
there actually is a reprint of this card, and it's all gold foiling. I think it was. Yeah. I think I want to say it was like a prize card from like a tournament or something like that, but it's like an all gold foil print of it. It's really cool. Yeah. Special summons any fish or sea serpent from your hand, disrupts your opponent's graveyard, and yeah, in Rush especially, graveyard disruption is pretty rare. That can actually be interesting because it does stop your opponent from decking out, which can potentially be a problem in Rush if you're drawing way too much. But it also stops any kind of graveyard setup, like with 7's 1 Diffusion or 7's Robe, which you mentioned before. So yeah, Grand Extreme, fantastic card. When I first saw this, it was like, this came out a while ago as well, and then they recently started to see play with a bunch of the new Sea Serpent stuff, and I was like, this card is fantastic, it's just needing that extra thing to take advantage of, and yeah, Grand Extreme rules.
Yeah.
Here we have, I think this is like the second to last one. Yeah. Here we have Full Meteor Impact. This is a fire level 7 rock monster. It's got 2,500 attack and 0 defense. And it has the requirement, if you have a face-up level 7 or higher spellcaster monster on your field, during the turn that you normal summoned it, you can send this card from your field to the grave, destroy all face-up level 6 or higher monsters on your opponent's field.
Oh, that card's good. Plus, he's gold, so he looks sick, so he wins.
Yeah, he does look really cool, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Admittedly, not many rock monsters actually in Rush Duel now that I think about it. Like, there's very, very few rock monsters in the game, which is surprising that they've not done anything with it yet. They've given Fish and Sea Serpent lots of stuff, but no rock. And Pyro as well has got lots of support, and Thunder, and Reptile as well. A lot of the cards which never get anything in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Get a lot of good stuff in Rush Duel, which is something. But I guess rocks have had some good stuff in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Adamancipator and everything, so...
Oh, yeah, like Block Dragon?
Oh, yeah, yeah, God, of course, yeah, Block Dragon, absolutely. And okay, I know they're not great. I do like Fossils as a deck. I think Fossils are cool. Just like rocks,
well,
which...
Just like you were saying about Worm, my favorite deck, or the Reptiles, my favorite deck is Worm.
Yeah.
WYRM, the flip monster deck.
Yep. I've always thought, like, what's it called? Was it Worm Apocalypse? The moon, the one which looks like a giant moon. I always thought that card is, like, really cool. I know it's, like, kind of really difficult to use, but I always thought that was also kind of cool about it as well. It's so difficult to use, but if you get it out, you just have this giant fuck you card. I think it's really fun. But yeah. Unfortunately, Full Meteor Impact missed the mark. What the hell just happened? Falcomi, what the fuck is it talking about? Okay. Weird. What's going on with VTube Studio? Why would you do that?
Oh no, did it crash?
No, it's not. I think something must have crashed in it, which is weird because I've not been using any of the assets it mentioned. It's fine, don't worry about it. Yeah, unfortunately this missed the mark, so yeah. Largely its requirement and the targets are way too limited to see widespread usage, so yeah. You know, you already need a level 7 spellcaster on the field, and it needs to already be there in the. It needs to be. It's way too loud. But yeah, it's way too specific. That level 7 higher spellcaster needs to already be on your field, or it needs to be on the field in the turn that you normal summoned it. So. You need to be able to realistically get out 2 level 7 monsters on the same turn, or already have one of them out, or had the spellcaster out at least. And then, you don't even get to attack with it if you want to use its effect. You just need to tribute it to use its effect. You send it to the grave. So,
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
Send
yeah.
this face-up card from your field to the graveyard.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. If this card, oh right, yeah, no. If main phase 2s existed, I imagine this card would be way more useful, potentially. Unless, though, granted, if you're in the main phase 2, you've probably destroyed a lot of your opponent's monsters. But yeah, you have to get rid of it before you can even use it. So it's kind of dumb. And like level 6 or higher, whilst that is pretty niche in terms of what it can get rid of, like it can, you know, there's not a lot. If your opponent doesn't have any, well, they're more likely to have level 4 or lowers. But yeah, there is a niche in that, especially when it came out. This was one of the few cards which could actually get rid of maximum monsters, because maximum monsters are all level 10 and higher. So
Yeah.
you could use this card to destroy a maximum, and they couldn't do anything about it because it's destruction via monster effect. So yeah, it did have that niche, but ultimately it's kind of whatever. Yeah. I think this is the last one now? Yeah, this is the last card.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. This also has one of those, like, cool new arts as well, where it splashes out from the card. It looks sick. I didn't get that on here, though, because I couldn't find any good images for it, but yeah. Steel Mech Lord, a Mirror Innovator, level 7 Light Machine. I spelled machine wrong, god damn it. Just like the A. 2,400 attack, 1,800 defense.
Machine.
Yeah. Requirement none. Machine. McKeen. Oh, this is Mr. McKeen.
Get on with it. No, I'm just kidding.
Choose up to 3 monsters in your grave with the same type as this card. This card gains attack equal to the total level of those cards times 100 until the end of the turn. Then shuffle those monsters into the deck. If you shuffled exactly 1 monster in this effect, it gains piercing damage until the end of turn.
How many things go in a defense position, though?
Potentially a lot. I mean, there's a lot of. You've seen us with like the Maxim monsters. There are a lot of like defense swapping effects, like attack position changing effects as well. Like, it's one of the most common types of control aspects, I guess, in Rush Duel, just because there's not as much easy to access destruction. So
yeah.
Battle position manipulation is one of the more common control-based effects.
I don't think this made it.
Yeah, what?
I don't think it did it.
How come? Just because piercing isn't that big a deal?
Well, yeah, and let's say somebody put the little spellcaster cat face down.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever. You know, it would be what's it called? You would only get 1,000 damage through.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I could see you winning games with it, but let's say that your only option is you have a copy of himself in the graveyard.
Right, yeah,
and
yeah.
you shuffle him back to get the 700 attack bonus and piercing.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, honestly, that's a good line of logic. I mean, yeah, I can totally see it. It's like, a card which is good but not great. So what are you saying? Missed the mark or made the mark? What are you saying?
Yeah, I'm saying he missed the mark.
This card made its mark. It's a staple in any machine deck, largely because it's capable of getting massive numbers and also restocking your deck. Also, it gets easy access to piercing. And whilst in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Piercing is kind of like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, no one's mad about piercing, but if a card has piercing, in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! No one's mad about it, but like, if that's all it gets, it's like, oh, okay. It's like a nice little bonus. In Rush Duel, piercing can be problematic if cards get it too easily, because piercing is really good. So, yeah, piercing can be...
that's just game knowledge again.
Yeah.
See, you know what I mean? It's just 50-50s for me all around, everywhere.
That's I guess the idea of this stream has been to show you, like, the different potential... The differences between, like, TCG versus Rush Duel, right? It's just to show you the differences between them. They are very different games. I think there are a lot of similarities, but the thought process behind stuff goes very differently. Like, you would never run a 14k defense vanilla monster just because it's got 14k defense.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, you know, we're comparing the two, and my comparison is Rush Duel is just garbage.
But yeah, no, this is like a staple in any kind of machine deck. And yeah, thank you for playing, Diagnosed. I really do appreciate you playing along, and I hope you've had a good time. I hope you learned something about the game from this, because I guess that was what I really tried to like pick cards which maybe would like be a bit weird and teach you some things about what's good and bad in the game.
Yeah, what do I win?
I don't have a prize. I mean, I can gift you a sub. Let's gift you a sub.
I already have that.
No, sorry. I can gift a sub to your channel if you'd want. Hang on, wait. Did you even win? Hang on, wait. Did you even win? I wasn't keeping track.
Did I even win? Yes, I won.
What do you mean you won? How many did you get? Were you keeping track? I wasn't planning on a score or anything for this.
Oh, wow. I thought I was going to get a prize. You said thanks for playing the game. I didn't know it was a game. I thought it was just like a podcast type thing. But now that it's a game, where's my prize?
Oh, come on.
Oh, where?
It was a game. It was a game. All right. I mean,
like, where's my minivan? Family Feud. Oh.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. Did you? I don't even know if you wouldn't. Did you even win?
Yes, I did.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
I'll gift a sub to your channel then. All right.
Watch it literally be split down the middle. it's literally just like the whole thing has been 50-50. It's literally, I guess, half of them correctly.
Honestly, I can probably see that. Like, no, honestly though, no, I hope you have enjoyed this, enjoyed our talks today, and I hope you've learned something about the game, even if it's made you convinced, man, I never want to play this format. I do hope you've learned something, and I hope you at least like the art, because I think the art in Rush Duels is very nice, and the layout of the cards is way nicer.
But I mean, I think the fact that they brought a Digimon into this means that all the art is trash. So there's no unique creativeness. Like,
you just hate Digimon because I was like that one time. I was like, damn, Magna Anja, no, like Anja Woman, she can get it when she's just a human with wings, and you're like, that's fucking weird, Elijah. Why would you want to fuck a Digimon? And like, this is the least Digimon-looking Digimon ever, and like, you're thinking it's weird to not be attracted.
She's still a Digi.
She has boobs.
She's still.
She has long blonde hair and boobs. That is a human with wings. She's an angel.
Still some digititties. That's all it is. That's still just that.
The Digicooch.
Yeah, of course it was a good time on here. In the background, I opened up Master Duel, did a couple of I did some organizing of my my box, and got the super heavy support that they released into the game.
nice, yeah.
So I
the mono monster
instead of
Kusagane,
yeah.
Thank you for the hydrate, appreciate that. Welcome in, Kusagane. We actually
hydrate or dihydrate.
I've been talking so much, I think I will dihydrate actually. God damn, my throat is sore now. I was meant to be doing a Hankan stream later as well, like as a second stream. I'm gonna see how I'm doing in a couple hours though.
You'll be fine.
I missed it yesterday.
You can do it.
Yeah, I missed it yesterday because of some scheduling issues and due to stuff in my house. But yeah.
At least there was no scheduling issues with today.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Are you? Will you be running like a mono monster deck for samurais? Because don't they have like effects which work if you have no spell and traps? Yeah, it's just mono mon.
You can only use that deck if they have no spells or traps in your graveyard.
That's so fun. I love. That's really funny. Yeah, Kusagane, we're doing a Yu-Gi-Oh quiz, gauging how good certain cards are.
We did.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
did.
And
you said we're doing.
You know, I thought. Okay, yeah. Well, no. What's important is that Diagnosed got everything wrong.
No, I won.
No,
I won your silly little game.
No, pretty much got everything wrong. I hate the new Link system. Links have been around for like 5 years now, actually. It's not that new anymore. Fuck, are we old?
Again, it's skill issue.
Skill issue getting older. Imagine that.
I remember how links were supposed to slow the game down,
Yeah.
but they made it 3 times faster.
Yeah, what a time to be alive that was. And like, oh wow, this could be wow, now we won't get spammed with as many extra deck monsters being summoned all at once, and then they made them too good and that didn't happen. So yeah.
I was mad that they didn't release a super heavy samurai link monster that goes in defense position.
That would have been cool.
Because you know they could do top left. You know, for the points, the arrows, they could do top left, left, and bottom left.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like link monsters don't work with every mechanic in the game, so if they went for that kind of thing, they had to just go for they had to basically be able to supplement other cards with that mechanic. Like I think of like Subterra cards as well, which are like the flip monsters, and you can't have link monsters face down, so a Subterra link has to be like, well, we can support flip monsters, but this card can't flip itself. Yeah. Link monsters solely shit on the pendulum system. Yeah, I think pendulum.
They fixed that.
Yeah, I mean pendulums weren't super popular anyway because they were kind of busted. They weren't at first. A lot of people apparently thought pendulums were kind of whatever when they came out, but eventually there was like too many things which were like, oh yeah, being able to summon 5 cards at once is actually really good. So yeah, they had to kind of nerf pendulums as a result, and I don't think pendulums ever fully recover. Yeah, I don't think they ever
fully recover.
No, because like, well, okay, they have done maybe, but like they don't get as much support as they used to because I think Konami's afraid of them.
Well, no, they're not afraid of them. It's just they're too complicated to make. But
yeah.
I mean, they do get support. Pendulums do get made because all of the new super heavy support was pendulum.
The only busted deck I remember is Klepoth. Oh, Klepoth are cool. Yeah. They're just all like tribute summon cards. Yeah. Man, Klepoth are fun.
But in Master Rule 10.5, they made it to where you can pendulum summon as many monsters from your hand, but you have to pendulum summon pendulum monsters from the top. That was how they like into special zones. Yeah, that was how they balanced it out. Yeah, pendulums on the extra deck can only go to link zones. So yeah,
I mean, it still nerfs them quite a bit, I think. But I know, like, what was it? Beyond the Pendulum is like a link monster introduced to support pendulum specifically, and like generically support pendulum. So they have been trying to make an effort to be like, okay, we kind of maybe nerfed these guys too much. We're trying to recover them a bit. We can't have them the same point they were originally, but we can do our best to give them some more things. So it's something. I don't think they'll ever, at least for now, there won't be a massively popular, successful pendulum deck in the near future. I don't think, but unless it's something weird, like I know there's a really interesting card, which is like. It's some like dreaming princess girl, and it's all about her dreams, and it's a pendulum deck, but like it doesn't use pendulum summons. It's really weird. It's all about like setting up different dreams, and she's always in the pendulum zone, and it's a really weird card. I don't remember how it works, but it's super interesting, and it's meant to be kind of like the Princess and the Pea, I think it is, and I don't know. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's really weird, and they're really cool. So yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, my throat is killing me. I need to go and get some more water because I'm running out. So I think I'm going to end the stream here for today, folks. Diagnosed, thank you as always for coming in. I do appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah, no. I might stay around for one more minute or two and chat. So yeah, I'll see you in a bit, man. Thanks a lot for coming in. I do appreciate it. I know it's like super early for you, and I'm honestly super grateful that because you know we've been planning this for a bit now. So I'm really happy. Thank you. Thanks a lot, man. Always appreciate it.
Bro, it's only 10. What are you talking about?
Well, it was early when you started, but yeah. No, wait, all right.
It was only 7. What are you talking about?
It's still early on a weekend, you know. On a weekend.
I was up till midnight. What are you talking about?
2 minutes to midnight. Anyway. I was up till 2 o'clock actually, so I've been trying to get to bed earlier, but I shouldn't. But I went to bed. I came too late. What? No, I went to bed too late. So yeah. Anyway, I'll see you in a bit, man. No.
Yep. All right. It's power time. Bye.
Have a good rest of your day, man. See you in a bit. Bye.
Later. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. Kusagane, don't worry about it too much. I'm gonna see how my throat is doing in a bit. I may be doing a hand cam stream, as I mentioned, in a couple of hours. Probably around 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, I'm not sure. UK time, that is. So yeah, I'm gonna see how that goes. I'm gonna see how I'm doing. Because it was meant to be yesterday, I wasn't able to get it done. But yeah, I'm gonna be playing Bop It on hand cam, and I'm very, very nervous about it. I was setting up for the stream, and I was like, oh my god, is this what my hands look like? This is so fucking unnerving. And I don't have any gloves to hide them either, because I wasn't able to get any, like, black gloves or anything, like, which actually hide my hands, so you're gonna see my whole skin. How disgusting is that? Bop it! Twist it! Pull it! Fuck it! But yeah, I'm gonna be playing Bop It. And if needed, I do have a few challenges as well, which I can try. So, but yeah, yeah. I'm gonna try and play a bit of Bop It. I don't know how long that will be, maybe like a... White gloves are easier to get. Yeah. I could have got some, like, white fabric gloves or something like that. God damn it. Oh, well. It's fine. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. You just have to see my gross, weird hands. My human hands. Which have been touching things in the 3D realm. Is that not unnerving to you? It should be. Ooh. They're everywhere, except where you don't want them to be, because, you know, we're keeping clean here. Oh, they've touched the computer. Oh no. Your GF left hand? I don't have a GF. Wait. Did you mean girlfriend by that? You did, right? I'm not dumb. Or am I dumb? Commander Kusagane, what do you mean by this? No, I am forever alone. Anyway, yeah, no, not fortunate enough for me. Oh, owner of a lonely heart, owner of a lonely heart. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna end the stream here then. I shall maybe be back on in a couple hours. I'll be putting a notification on Discord if I am. Hence your GF left hand. No, I don't know. I mean, wait, I'm actually still confused. Do you mean do I touch my girlfriend with my left hand? In which case, I have no girlfriend to touch. So, I guess I don't do that at all. Listen, I'm sorry, Kusagane, that we can't all be Mondo Gigachads, okay? Who have multiple girlfriends with which to touch with their left hand. Huh? I'm sorry we can't all have 10-inch doggers. Okay? And that women just leap on us. With the grace of a gazelle. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, you mean my private areas. Why did my neck snap there? That's for me to know, and for you to find out. Don't make me explain the private areas. Oh, I keep snapping. What the hell? Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream here, Kusagane. Yeah, I'll see if I'm gonna be okay to be back on in a couple hours. I need to have some honey and water just to soothe my throat, because oh my god, I'm tired. But yeah, I shall see you in a bit. No worries. Thanks a lot. I'll see you in a bit, man. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming in. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-dum-bum-bum-bum.